If you've ever been locked into reading, so much so that you missed your bedtime by an hour, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks, and welcome back. Happy Friday morning. We made it to the end of a very long week, and we've got one more day to go here. We have futures pulling back just a little bit, although they've pared back some of those losses here already. So we'll see how the open goes. It is a Friday fun day. No Anne-Marie today, but we do have Mark Petrino today. So we are going to break down all of the news. We're going to break down the market, and we're going to make some more money here today. Benzinga's pre-market playbook, the Friday edition for September 12th, starts right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. It's great to see a whole bunch of returning faces here. I hope that you all had a wonderful rest of your Thursday. And just as a reminder, we will never forget September 11th. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces here today. Candace is first. Morning question mark? Yes, it is morning. And in fact, it's early morning and you beat everybody. So congratulations, Candace. You are first today. Good morning and welcome back. EKS. Silver continues to punch higher. Do we see 43 an ounce today? Gold near 3,700 per ounce. It's a good question there, EKS. The metals have really been on a huge run. We actually, a couple of days ago, we were kind of talking about if this breakout that we see here in gold actually has some more legs. Looks like it does, at least so far. EKS, let me know how you're going about trading this. I'd be very, very curious. I don't normally trade gold myself, but if that becomes the best setup, it becomes the best setup. Tom, good morning. Welcome back. Good morning to the best YouTube community and a great day ahead. Tom, facts. We do have the best community here, and we continue to make it better every day. That's the other thing. 1% better every day. There is no end goal there. Peter, good morning. You're welcome. Thanks for the help yesterday with Tim. Look, Tim's our like show uncle, I feel like, around here. So happy to help whenever we can. Very grateful for Tim, his expertise, and frankly, his sense of humor, which a bit of an acquired taste, I suppose. But very, very thankful for that. I'm glad you got help. Paul, good morning. Welcome back. Francis, good morning. Producer, locked in. Yes, you do have time to get coffee. I need the producer to be locked in with coffee without a doubt for the show. That's non-negotiable. Zach, good morning. It's good to see you again. Welcome back. Brian, good morning. Welcome back. Tanya, good morning. Neville, good morning. Harley, good morning. Crimp Biscuit, good morning. Brandy, good morning. Florida Yacht Insurance Guy, good morning. Bernhard, welcome back. It's good to see you, buddy. Cam, good morning. Welcome back. Did you see the testimony about aliens? No. Somehow, Cam, I love alien stuff. Full disclosure, I've loved it my entire life. So I'm interested in reading that. I'm interested in reading that. If you could find some way to link that to me, I'd be appreciative of that. Tyler, good morning. Welcome back. Jane, good to see you again. As always, Day Trader is locked in. Welcome back, Day Trader. Jennifer, good morning. Abed, good morning. Empyrean, good morning. Ebine, good morning. Catherine, it's good to see you again. Raffle and Lion, good morning. Jean, good morning. Special K, good morning. Carlos, good morning from Dubai. What's the weather like in Dubai? How's the view out there? Welcome. Christy Moto. Christo Neo, I think. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name, but good morning. Welcome. Jay Grant, good morning. Big Bees, good morning. Buffalo by Bicycle, good morning. Just passing through. Happy Friday. Bob, we are going to take a look at GlucoTrack here today. That's popping big. Welcome back. E-Rock, it is good to see you as always. Good morning. White Chocolate Mocha, good morning. Richard Judge, good morning. Reaching Financial Freedom and Rooster, good morning. Hans YOLO, I absolutely love that handle. It's almost as good as like Solo Han, right? Like that is just so awesome. Good morning, welcome back. Tara, good morning. It's great to see you again. Sam, good morning. Dreamer, good morning. Dara, good morning. Glass half full, good morning. Mark, good morning. I have a link. Can I drop a producer? Okay. Smita, good morning. Valerie, good morning. Durkis, good morning. Kenneth, good morning. It will spook you, Ryan. Watch the video of the Hellfire missile bouncing off of the craft. What, dude? I will look this up. Even if you can't give me this link, I will look this. I completely miss this. I was watching a ton of September 11th stuff yesterday in remembrance. I also checked out the sports ball game that we had last night. So I missed all of this, and I want to see it. Nomad, top of the morning, Tuna Faloona. Boy, it has been probably since college since someone's called me that. But Nomad, appreciate it. Good morning and welcome back. Hit that like button. Thank you, Reaching Financial Freedom. Big Milkshake Trading, good morning. And Mark, good morning, says, it's Matt. You guys, this is awesome. You guys are breaking news to me here about this. I need to see this. Interesting. I can't wait. I can't wait. Okay. Let's go ahead and get ready with our stock market today. All right, S&P futures here just about unchanged, although slightly in the red. As mentioned at the top here, they were actually lower this morning, so they're trading up off of their lows. Perhaps that's a sign of things to come here. Dow futures leading the way lower here, minus 0.24%. And technology, the NASDAQ futures are actually in the green by 0.06%. So looking like a mixed open ahead of Friday's session here today. All right, let's take a look at some cues from the last session. Most sectors of the S&P 500 closed on a positive note, with consumer discretionary, healthcare, and material stocks recording the biggest gains on Thursday. However, energy stocks bucked the overall market trend, closing the session slightly lower. This broad strength helped U.S. settle higher, with the Dow Jones gaining more than 600 points as investors assessed key consumer inflation data. The momentum pushed all three major U.S. equity benchmarks, the S&P 500, the NASDAQ 100, and the Dow Jones, to fresh record highs as investors piled into risk assets on growing bets that interest rates will soon fall. Kroger reported better than expected second quarter earnings. In contrast, the Lovesac, ticker LOVE, fell around 15% after the company cut fiscal year 2026 GAAP EPS guidance and narrowed its sales outlook. The Trump administration on Thursday urged D.C. Federal Appeals Court to allow the firing of Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook to take effect before the central bank's interest rate setting meeting next week. Meanwhile, the Dow closed above the $4,600 mark for the first time on Thursday, and despite gloomy economic data, U.S. inflation accelerated to 2.9% year over year in August, while weekly jobless claims spiked to 263,000, their highest level since October of 2021. The 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.04%, and the 2-year bond was at 3.56%. All right, let's take a look at some insights here. Scott Wren, senior global market strategist at Wells Fargo Investment Institute, highlights a U.S. labor market that appears to be, quote, moving at stall speed, end quote, prompting a call to trim risk and rebalance investment portfolios. According to his report, the U.S. labor market is showing clear signs of a slowdown. Wren notes that when negative reversions to the previous month's job gains are considered, the domestic labor market is, quote, slowing noticeably, end quote. This slowdown is critical as the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell has identified employment data as a key factor in determining future interest rate decisions. Despite the hiring slowdown, Wren points out that companies are not letting employees go. The commentary suggests looking beyond monthly job creation numbers to initial jobless claims, which serve as a good leading indicator for employment trends. For most of the year, the initial claims have remained stable in the 220 to 240,000 range. This is a historically low figure. In past decades, even during strong economic periods, claims often exceeded 300,000. This steady level of claims signifies that businesses are holding to their staff. The bottom line, Wren states, is that, quote, companies are not hiring, but they are also not firing, end quote. Given this economic backdrop and a rally that has seen the S&P 500 index climb more than 30% from its April lows, Wren's strategy is to trim risk and rebalance portfolios. Doesn't that sound kind of similar to what we've all been saying here on a regular basis? I feel like that's what I feel like that's like been a common theme for us around here. The commentary outlines several specific allocation shifts. Sector rotations, moving funds out of the communications, services, and energy sectors, both now rated neutral, and into the financial sector, rated most favorable. Asset class adjustments, shifting capital from U.S. small cap equities rated unfavorable and commodities rated neutral towards U.S. intermediate term taxable fixed income, which is rated favorable. They've maintained positions. The firm remains overweight and maintains a favorable rating on U.S. large cap and U.S. mid cap. Did I just say U.S.? U.S. mid cap equities. I apologize for that. Meanwhile, Ryan Dietrich of Carson Research highlighted that the fourth year of the current bull market was almost here, and historically, this one usually does well. According to data shared by him, the bull market returns 14.6% on average in its fourth year. So he goes on to tweet here, the good news, things come back in year 4, and 4 starts in 1 month. Now, we do have some upcoming economic data. On Friday, we get the September preliminary consumer sentiment data that will be released at 10 Eastern. We do have some of the stocks in focus here. We will talk about Adobe, and we could talk about any of the other stocks that you folks are thinking about here. That Warner Brothers and Paramount possible all-cash offer for an acquisition, that one's a little spicy. No position on that, but we'll see how that one shakes out. Okay. Prices are rising. Jobs are gone. Can the Fed stop the stagflation spiral? An unsettling mix of rising consumer prices and surging layoffs is amplifying fears of stagflation right at the end of the third quarter, putting the Federal Reserve in an increasingly untenable position as it weighs a rate cut next week. August's consumer price index rose 2.9% year over year, the highest since January, and right in line with estimates. But what came from the labor market was a dire surprise. Initial jobless claims for the week ending September 6th soared to 263,000, the highest level since October of 2021 and well above the 235,000 expected. Combined with August's stagnant job creation, the data showed that the U.S. labor market is now under real strain. Thursday's data reinforces the idea that the Fed is being pulled in opposing directions, according to Ryan Sweet. That's the chief U.S. economist at Oxford Economics. Inflation is creeping higher and the labor market data is showing cracks, but neither development is likely to derail the 25 basis point cut that we are expecting at next week's meeting. Quote, the Federal Reserve is in a difficult situation, end quote, as headline inflation rose more than anticipated and the jobless claims surged well past expectations. Quote, inflation is only one piece of the puzzle to gauge the Fed's path forward. Nancy Vandenhouten, economist at Oxford Economics, said that the recent spike in claims, particularly from Texas, could reflect regional or seasonal distortions. Still, she acknowledged a broader trend. Initial claims have trended higher over the last several weeks, hinting at a pickup in layoffs. Quote, the main market mover this morning is jobless claims. That comes from Mohammed El Arian on X. He goes on to say inflation may still be above the Fed's target, but the greater risk lies in the pace and severity of labor market weakening. Quote, tariffs are creeping into the data, end quote. That comes from Nathaniel Casey, investment strategist at Evelyn Partners. He pointed to a 0.5% monthly surge in apparel prices, the steepest rise since February, as evidence that imported goods are getting more expensive. Jim Bianco, president of Bianco Research, cautioned that Labor Day may have distorted the data as claims typically spike around holidays. He added that the Bureau of Labor Statistics has acknowledged difficulties with seasonal adjustments during holiday weeks, and a shortened 4-day work schedule often distorts these numbers. The Federal Reserve, whose dual mandate is to maintain price stability and full employment, faces opposing signals right now. Inflation remains too high, yet weakening labor data suggests the case for easing. Markets widely expect a 25 basis point cut next week, which would lower the federal funds rate to 4 to 4.25%. Traders are also pricing in a 92% chance of another rate cut at the October 29 meeting and an 85% chance for a third in December. What is the opinion here of the group? Do we have kind of a difference in opinion here? Do we think there's going to be 2 or 3 or maybe 1 or 50 instead of 25? Curious where you guys all land on that. Stocks are rallying to fresh records amid expectations of lower interest rates, with the S&P 500 tracked by Vanguard's VOO climbing 0.7 to 65.75 during Thursday's morning trading in New York. The Dow Jones smashed through that 4,600 mark for the first time, while the Nasdaq surged to 23,982, also setting a new high. Now, investors appear to be betting that rate cuts will cushion the slowdown, fueling optimism for risk assets, even as economic data flash stagflationary signals. For now, Wall Street is cheering, but the rally rests on the fragile balance between cooling inflation and a labor market that may be softening faster than the Fed expected. All right. I believe that somebody asked about SMCI. It was either yesterday or perhaps the day before. I apologize for them blending together quite a bit here. Here's a look at the SMCI chart. I think we did actually cover it during the regular session. I don't think we broke it down in the rundown, but we did take a look at it in the regular session. We'll take a little bit more of a deep dive here. You can see where we're at. We've basically turned the downtrend that we had been in for some time to a sideways trend here. That sideways trend took us through the trend line that we had been wondering, but we're still kind of hanging out near this amalgamation of all of these different moving averages. It is worth noting here, first of all, that we did a really good job holding the 200-day. Now we're pushing up to the 50-day and the 500-day moving average. Now, as far as the news goes here, Supermicro ships NVIDIA Blackwell Ultra solutions. And of course, any mention with NVIDIA is going to cause the stock to climb, and it's no different right here. Supermicro announced the broad availability of its plug-and-play ready NVIDIA HGX B300 systems and GB300 NVL72 racks to customers worldwide. The company said the solutions are purpose-built and pre-validated at system, rack, and data center scale before shipping in order to enable rapid deployment of the industry's highest performance and compute density for AI infrastructure. Quote, Supermicro has the best track record of fast and successful deployments of new NVIDIA technologies. That comes from Charles Liang, the CEO of SMCI. Through Supermicro data center building block solutions with our expertise in on-site development, we enable turnkey delivery of the highest performance AI platform critical for customers seeking to invest in cutting-edge technology. So I know, just kind of zooming out and taking a bigger look here at SMCI, the last time that we really kind of looked at this and broke it down, at least I was, I don't want to speak for the entire group here, I was extremely concerned about some of the accounting issues. And while it appears that that's behind us, I'm still not 100% sure on all of that. I don't love this. I actually think that there are better plays out here. But if you folks have a decent trade setup on this, I am all ears. I'm all ears on this. So let me know if you guys like Supermicro. Has something changed here? Let me know. Let me know what the thoughts are here on Supermicro. Next stock that I want to take a look at is a show favorite, as usual. That's going to be Hood. Here's what we got on the daily chart. Now, Hood is up almost 0.3% here in the pre-market. The big key from the daily chart that we still need to pay attention to is we popped back above this trend line. And although we haven't made a huge move since then, we've done a really good job following that trend, staying above that trend line and continuing to drift higher, even if it's not on extreme volume. So it's a pretty interesting spot here for the chart because it is still in an uptrend. It does still show strength. We talk a lot about the 20-day moving average really being determinant of the trend and all of that. We stayed above that. We continue to stay above that. We're above that right now. To me, I'm almost thinking that we probably try for some new highs again, unless the market just completely doesn't cooperate and comes back in. I think Hood has a potential of setting a new all-time high in the next several sessions. we'll see how that goes. Now, let's actually take a look at the news here. They reported their August operating figures. Funded customers at the end of August were 26.7 million. That's down approximately 10,000 from July in 2025 and up approximately 2.4 million year over year. Let me stop right here because my first experience with Robinhood, like, I don't actually have any firsthand experience, but my first experience of hearing from people that were using this on a regular basis was right around the COVID GameStop fiasco time. And man, oh man, if you had told me back then when people were complaining about not being able to close their open positions, I mean, think about that as a trader. You cannot close your positions if you want to. They've really come a long way here. And obviously the stock price speaks for itself, but they've really done a good job making a mistake and then cleaning up that mistake. And now they're getting numbers to support that the things that they've done have actually been very helpful. And it's good to see. If I had to have guessed this back then, and I did, I would have guessed that this is going to be a huge problem. And I've been proven wrong by the stock. And I think there might be some more to go here. Total platform assets at the end of August were 304 billion. That's up 2% from the end of July of 2025 and up 112% year over year. Now, that's not surprising given the huge move that we saw since Liberation Day. There was a lot of fear out there, and Liberation Day turned out to be one of the best buying opportunities that we've seen probably since COVID. Net deposits were 4.8 billion in August, or a 19% annualized growth rate relative to July 2025 total platform assets. Over the last 12 months, net deposits were 61.6 billion, or an annual growth rate of 43% relative to August 2024 total platform assets. Equity notional trading volumes were 199.2 billion. This is down 5% from July 2025 and up 100% year over year. Option contracts traded were 195.5 million, roughly flat to July of 2025 and up 33% year over year. Robinhood app crypto national trading volumes were at 13.7 billion. Interestingly, that's down 18% from July, but still up a whopping 154% year over year. Bitstamp exchange crypto national trading volumes were 14.4 billion, up 21% from July. Margin balances at the end of August were 12.5 billion, up 10% from the end of July and up 120% year over year. Total cash sweep balances at the end of August were 34.1 billion. That's up 1% from the end of July and 50% year over year. Total securities lending revenue in August was 53 million. That's down 13% from July and up 165% year over year. So it appears that not only is Hood gaining more trading clients, both on the stock and the crypto side, but it also appears that those clients are pretty universally, on the whole, doing quite well. Sure what it looks like to me here. So let me know what you think on Hood. Do you like it? Are we looking for some more? I'd asked you guys about SMCI. It looks like we got a couple of comments here. SMCI hurt me. I'm still trying to forgive. I'm with you on that, Cam. Look, I get hurt by a stock. I, generally speaking, don't like to go back and trade that. It's something that I'm working on, but I completely understand where you're coming from. Kenneth says, I've got a few leaps in SMCI. Kenneth, if you wouldn't mind, what price and expiry? When you say leaps, are you looking like mid 2026, end of 2026, beginning of 2026? Although I'm not sure that's a leap anymore. And what kind of price are you looking for on that? I will say that the options still trade pretty well, and if you get a huge move in that stock, that's going to be a monster of a trade there. Jared says 3% profit margins for SMCI. LOL, no thanks. Buffalo by Bicycle says, once a company lies, I'm out forever, ever since Nikola. I totally get it. Look, I totally get it. And I tell you guys all the time, trade what you know, trade what you like, trade what's successful for you. I've actually been fielding a couple of questions from users recently, like, how do I do this? And how do I do that? And what's the right way to do this and that? And the reality is what helps you grow your P&L consistently, that's the right answer. And it very well may be different for everybody. That's just part of it. Kenneth said that the SMCI, that's a trade, not an investment. That's the way to go, Kenneth. I love that. Dara says, I will never use Hood. I still have such a bad taste in my mouth. See, this is what I was thinking. This is kind of what I was alluding to when I was talking about the fiasco. that took place around COVID there. I completely understand where you're coming from. It would be very, very difficult for me to forgive that. If they did it once, they can do it again. Without a doubt. Yassine says hood to 125. Kenneth, your leaps are for mid 2026. Okay. Thank you very much. Jimmer is saying any big numbers out this morning. The only data print that we get here today is the Michigan consumer sentiment. That comes at 10 a.m. after the market opens. Also, Chris thinks hood to 125 is a pretty safe bet as well. And Ethan is saying the hood credit card is real nice. Ethan, one of my buddies, my buddy that lives in Arkansas, he was saying the same thing. He loves the Robinhood card. He loves that he's got his own account and it's tied to the card and he can very easily move money around and get rewards and put the rewards in different places. I've heard a lot of that as well. So awesome. Really good stuff there. Okay. It's been a while, but we're going to get back to it now. We got an update here on the Tesla Waymo battle. And day trader, if you want to pump your fist, jump on the table and do a victory lap. I still think it's too early, but you've earned it. And this is your time. Alphabet's Waymo picked up an unexpected praise from Tesla bull Ross Gerber after a real world Los Angeles ride, highlighting the self-driving unit's growing traction as it ramps up robo-taxi testing and expansion across the U.S. On Thursday, Gerber Kawasaki co-founder shared his experience on X after a 42-minute Waymo ride through Hollywood, Beverly Hills, and the Pacific Palisades. He says, my 42-minute Waymo trip through Hollywood, Beverly Hills, and the very tricky streets by my house in the Palisades, I give it an A. It drove confidently through three quite challenging challenges. Sorry, he doesn't write very well. I'm impressed. Not to mention the car is clean and doesn't smell like an Uber. Does anyone else share the opinion here with Ross? Full disclosure, I do. Ubers seem to just have this odd smell that seems to be unique to Ubers. Anyway, the endorsement drew attention because Gerber has long been a vocal supporter of Tesla, a company preparing its own robotaxi rollout. Earlier this month, Waymo announced it had secured approval to begin operations at San Jose Airport, starting with tests using safety drivers before launching commercially later this year. The company also received its first permit in New York City on August 22nd, authorizing tests in Manhattan and downtown Brooklyn. It will operate 8 vehicles in the city through September, building on previous expansions in August, in Austin, San Francisco, and Los Angeles. 10 million paid rides and counting. Alphabet's self-driving division hit a milestone in May, surpassing 10 million paid robotaxi rides across the Phoenix, Austin, San Francisco, and Los Angeles area. The company in April disclosed it completed more than 250,000 paid trips in a single week and announced a partnership with Toyota Motors to develop an autonomous tech for personal vehicles. Tesla has launched its long-awaited robotaxi app on the Apple App Store, quickly outpacing Uber's download record during its first 30 days. However, the app requires users to join a wait list before accessing rides in San Jose. So let me know, day trader. I saw Waymo all over LA last weekend when I was there, but I took Uber twice on the trip. Black Mamba says Waymo greater than Uber, Tesla infinitely more scalable though. Waymo's greater. Okay, so I think you said Waymo is greater than Uber, but Tesla is infinitely more scalable. That's kind of where I sat on the whole thing. But, scalability is great if you don't execute it or if you do it wrong. That's not a positive. You really need to do it right. Okay, it is Friday. We're going to get a lesson here. We're going to bring on our good buddy, Mark Petrino, and see how he's doing. Good morning, Mark. Happy Friday. How are you doing, boss?
Hey, I'm good, Ryan. Thank you. How you doing?
I'm doing all right here. We're rolling along. Happy it's Friday. Ready to finish off the market with a bang. I'm hoping
watching our accounts grow every day, which is a good thing.
It is a really good thing. I will absolutely take that, and we're going to keep trying to grow it some more here today. You got any cool stuff to help us here today?
Yeah. So there's a big amount of bearishness out there. I don't know what's going to happen with this rate cut next week. I assume 25 basis points is baked into the cake. I think there's a good chance it's 50. But I don't see any reason to be bearish. All the charts look good. Nothing's overextended. The sentiment is still really bad, which is actually good for the market, because if sentiment is really bad, it means people have sold and the market's kind of running out of sellers. And if the market runs out of sellers, well, the only way you can go is higher. So I was actually surprised at the sentiment numbers that came out last week and how bad they are. But like anything, having an opinion is a dangerous thing for a trader. So I'm just going to be a reactionary and just kind of see. Anyway, you want to share your screen and I'll show you some of the stocks I was looking at this week?
You mean you share your screen and we'll see those stocks?
Oh, sorry. Forgot that.
It's a Friday. We're already getting in weekend. Uh-oh. He just canceled. Oh, there we go. Okay. We're clicking but I was like, oh no, are we having another internet outage? Because that's happened before here on the show as well. Here we go with the charts. Well, yeah. So one day, Mark, actually it was a Friday, I think. I was trying to pass or go to the Anne Marie show and my internet just died. And Anne Marie just went out and did the show herself because she's such an ace. But yeah, so that's happened before. We're used to that. We know how to handle that. Okay, what do you got for us?
All right. Well, first thing I'll bring up is those sentiment numbers I was talking about. So this is something I think is a pretty important thing to look at. It only comes out once a week. And a lot of times you don't get signals from it, but every now and then you do. And they tend to be really good. For example, when we got this excessive bearishness in April, that was a good time to buy because the market effectively runs out of sellers. When markets are at tops, they effectively run out of buyers and go lower. So big market moves down. I'm not talking about a little correction or some profit taking, but big moves down catch people off guard. They surprise people. They happen when everyone's euphoric and so forth and so on. So these come out once a week. This is our historical norms. 38% are bullish, 31% are neutral, 31% are bearish. Look how, we're getting into extremes here on the bearish side, up to 49, almost 50%. So, when I first came to Wall Street, a guy told me the market climbs a wall of worry, and I didn't realize what the hell he was talking about. But in my opinion, as long as people are that bearish, there's still money on the sidelines, and maybe a lot of the people who've wanted to sell have done so already, so they're out of the way. If we go through some of these things here, one of the things I really like to do is look at the sectors. There's only 11 of them, and different sectors are in the driver's seat at different times. But this is XLK, so I'm looking at these ETFs that track these sectors. This is the technology sector, and sure enough, all-time high yesterday. Real strength out of Netflix. Not Netflix. NVIDIA. I was looking at Netflix before. I talk about a trade I did there if you want.
Well, yes, definitely. I'm definitely interested in that.
Yeah, so NVIDIA, it's quiet this morning, but it's showing some strength. And assuming nothing crazy happens, in a bull market like this, it's like every time there's a big pullback, things just come right back. And one of the things I hear from my students a lot is they got stopped out too early because they just think in percentages. They don't think about where the levels are. In other words, someone might say, oh, if I'm going to buy NVIDIA, if it goes down by 8%, I'm going to sell it. That's what's called a sell stop. If your sell stop just coincidentally coincidentally happens to put you at or just above a support level, there's a good chance the stock retests, gets to support, you get stopped out, and then it moves higher. So if you're thinking about putting sell stops on something, think not just in percentages, but think about the important price levels. All right. And our healthcare sector looks pretty good here.
We've been talking a lot about healthcare stocks. Actually, we had one of the traders here, Pete, has an amazing winning trade going on CNC, and we talk about UNH on a pretty regular basis. So I'm curious to know what you think for the entire sector here as well.
Well, the sector looks the sector, it's probably stalling out a little bit because we got to this former peak here. But I think overall, I think it looks good. That's a strong move. CNC is an interesting chart. I'm glad someone brought that up because this shows what we call the concept of market memory. And that means that a price level that's important can be important for a long time. It could be weeks, months, quarters. It could even be years. So if we go back on this one here, Notice the red line where we just found support. That goes back literally 10 years ago. So this is October of 16, but this right here is September of 5th. Well, look at that, almost to the date, right? 10 years ago. That level first became important. Now here we are many years later, and the sell-off gets down there, and that's where it ends, and that's where it reverses. You can see another amazing example of this market memory up here. So this is June of 15, and then this is October of 19. So it's not a coincidence that this is where this sell-off ended. I mean, look at that. It's almost within a point. It probably is within a point. And we're talking about, 2015 to 2019, 4-year difference. Up here, we first get to this resistance in September of 18, March of 20, June of 21, and then the level converts into a support level right here. So this level was important from August of 18 through October of 22. So it's just important to understand. I mean, it seems like a hard thing to believe that it could actually happen, but the charts don't lie. And
and this is the type of stuff that should give you confidence to enter a trade, especially when there's a lot of noise going on, like on the periphery, peripheral, whatever it is, whatever the right word is there. This should help give you confidence. I know when the chart looks good to me, when the chart makes sense to me, I have a lot better time actually taking some of these trades.
Yeah. And it all goes back to human psychology, right?
Yeah.
If we look back at the Dow Jones here, going back to the very beginning, people say, well, that's because of algorithms, or that's because of
there were no algorithms back then.
Computerized, yeah. And I mean, here we have the same thing we just saw, support at a former support level. So this is 1903, and this is 1932. This is supported here for years, resistance at a former resistance level. So this is I know this because I looked it up. This is the Knickerbocker Bank collapse in 1907. And we find the bottom right around 55 for the Dow. This is the World War I sell-off, where the market, there's a big gap there because the market was actually closed for a few months. And look at where it found a bottom, right? Within a few points, within 1 point. And they didn't have computers, or they didn't have algorithms back then. The reason why we can see this is because the charts are a graphical illustration of the people that are doing the trading. They're the emotions and the people that are doing the trading. We get support at former support levels because of seller's remorse. People sell at the bottom and the price goes higher, and they tell themselves, if it ever gets back to my price, I am going to buy my shares back at the same price I sold them at. So if you have enough remorseful sellers placing buy orders, the level that had been support can become support again. So
I have another chart that I want to ask you about that shows this market memory really well, I believe, and I want to get your opinion on it. Can we do that real quick?
Of course.
Take a look at Lulu. And you can do this on a daily, but we might just need to back out a little bit, because I suspect, back out a little bit here. This 160 to this 160, there you go. Draw the line across here, because back in the end of 2018 there, it really kind of looks like this is a huge level. And look at that.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't even see that.
So here we go with your market memory that you're talking about. It looked like this level right here. I assigned this about 160 to 165. This looks like a previous resistance level that it took multiple attempts to break through. Then it back tested it in COVID and held. Then we did a whole bunch of other stuff here. And now look where we're returning. So I actually expect a bounce around here, 160, 165.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. I know the company's has a lot of troubles, but the key here is, if you're anticipating a bounce, and I think there's a good reason for it, but you wait for the bounce to actually begin. You don't try to catch the bottom.
And you have a gap above there that you might be able to trade as well.
Right. So this could potentially get back up to here really quick. One of the main reasons in markets why we get resistance, we talked about support, but one of the main reasons why we get resistance is remorseful buyers trying to sell to get out at break even. So when this thing collapsed, there were a lot of people who probably thought that they had a great trade because they bought it here and it bounced up a little bit after. But then it collapsed. And now a lot of the people that bought here say to themselves, I was wrong. I shouldn't have done this. If I get out at break even, I'm going to. So if it gets back up to here, there's a good chance that there's going to be resistance. Now, this also can bring up the old statement that gaps tend to refill. Like we just said, one of the main reasons why we get resistance is remorseful buyers.
Mhm.
If we gap, meaning if we close there and we open there, there's no trading in between. So if there's no trading, there's no one who bought. So there may not be remorse. There may not be as many sell orders or as much sell interest as there would typically be, because you're just not going to have those remorseful buyers trying to sell. So I would say I would approach this in one of two ways. If we clear this 168 level, then that's what we would call a potential breakout trade, right? We got a resistance there. Resistance is a large group of sellers. If we get above that, we can infer that those sellers are out of the way. And then I think there's a good chance we make a quick run up to here. So the key is, think about it as you're at like a race, right? And the starter has said on your mark, get set, but they haven't said go yet. The go is potentially breaking of this resistance, or another way to do it could be like if the RSI line crosses back above this lower threshold, that would be my trigger to get in. But the ultimate point is have a valid reason for getting in, as opposed to just thinking it's going to go up, because it could keep going down. Just because something's at support and oversold doesn't mean it can't keep going down. So we want to wait for the reversal.
And so I'm glad you're saying that. Let's say in this hypothetical example, we wait for the reversal. Our go trigger, if you will, is the 168 cross that you've identified there. To me, as a trader, I would just trade that against the lows you see there on the daily chart, whatever that value is. I don't have a cursor that's live there, but was what, 163-ish? What's the bottom of that red candle, the bottom of the wick of that red candle?
Right
164, 163. So this would be my trade plan then, right? I'd be looking for 186 on the upside. The entry trigger is going to be around 168, and your stop there is around 163.
Yeah.
5 points to the downside, 20 some points to the upside. Risk to reward is in your favor. Chart telling you it's okay, and we're looking back at historical price action. To me, that seems like a complete, well-built trade right there.
Yeah, definitely something to. I think what traders should do is have like a set of you have a radar list of stuff that is set up, right? Whatever your style is. If you think something looks like it's going to reverse off a bottom, or something's going to break out, or something is going to have a moving average crossovers, things that are set up, things where the starter has said on your mark, get set. The starter might never say go. So those trades might never get triggered. You might have 20 potential trades, and if the market's quiet and not really moving, maybe 2 of them get triggered in a day. If the next day is really volatile and the market's kind of moving the way you thought it was going to move, well, then maybe 10 of your trades get triggered. But I like having a 2 list, the things I look at every day, or, oil, interest rates.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's also the list of stuff on the radar screen that, like, oh, gee, this thing looks like it is going to potentially move higher. I've got this Dr. Pepper is on my list.
Okay.
So here we are right at the bottom from back here. Very oversold. I actually did on stock of the day, I did Oracle. I think there might be a trade here on the downside if you're someone who trades options. And this is the old gap up, and this is very bearish action yesterday. So one of the main reasons why we get support, it's the mirror image of resistance, is the remorseful sellers, people who sold, thing goes up, comes back, and they try to buy it back at the price they sold it at. Well, when you gap up, there's no trading. So if there's no trading, there's no one who sold who's going to be trying to buy their shares back on the way down. So there may not be a significant amount of buy interest in these price levels here. And yesterday's action was pretty weak. This is the old bearish engulfing pattern. So the stock in the morning, you would have said to yourself, oh, gee, it's going to be another up day.
Yep.
The opening price was higher than the prior day's close. But somewhere over the course of the day, the sellers overpowered the buyers, pushed it back through. It's making a pretty decent move lower this morning. So this is something I did on Friday. I think I did this on Wednesday. This was my stock of the day on Wednesday. Today I'm going to do Netflix.
Yes. All right.
And I'm going to just, these
But
guys get me every which way and going, man. It's just, I'm so,
really quickly here, another potential for a trade there. If you're interested in Oracle, you can also use the ORCX, which is the 2x long Oracle ETF. And I believe that you can buy puts on that. So Mark, you had talked about that. If you want a little extra juice on that trade, there's another way to do that as well.
That's a good idea. I didn't even think about
So, okay. Let's get with Netflix here.
All right. So Netflix, I'm kind of looking at this thing two different ways. So one is we're at short-term support. So we might rally and again, wait for the trigger. Maybe the RSI line starts to turn higher or an important price level gets crossed. If this breaks, then I think next stop is down around here, which goes back to here. So anyway, so that's something I'm going to write about this morning for just a potential reversal trade. When a market's going lower, people overanalyze this stuff, right? I mean, they forget sometimes that it's just supply and demand. It's economics 101. If there's more shares for sale than there are to be bought, the sellers start to undercut each other so they can draw the buyers in off the sidelines, and that starts a snowball effect that pushes the price lower. When you get down to here, a support level, for whatever reason, there's enough demand or shares to buy to absorb all of the supply or shares for sale. Now, sometimes at a bottom or at support, buyers start to get anxious and because they know the seller is going to go to whoever is willing to pay the highest price. So someone might be like, all right, well, I was at 1150. I'm going to go to 1151. Someone else is like, that guy went to 1151. I'm going to go to 1152. And it starts a snowball effect of that people trying to outbid each other. And it just shows you how quickly the sentiment in a market can change. Here we have this massive bearishness on Netflix, and then all of a sudden we have massive bullishness. I mean, what really changed fundamentally between here and here that made this big drop in valuation happen? Was there like a fire at a factory or something? And it's like, no, it's just people's perceptions change.
Yeah. I mean, maybe people did subscribe and unsubscribe, but none of that's reported. None of that's public. And this is clearly a representation of the psychology of that. Okay. Are we ready for some tickers? Because we got a bunch of good ones here today.
Yeah, definitely. One thing though, before we get into this.
Sorry. Yeah, absolutely.
I just want to point out this big move lower or I should say big move higher in the bond market, but big move lower in interest rates recently. So I think this is bullish for equities as well. But yeah, so let's do some tickers if you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a lot of good suggestions here from the group. I think what we'll do is we'll start with Adobe, and then we'll also take a look at Synopsys. And I think there was one more out there, but I can't seem to find it. Adobe. Oh, UPS.
Okay, I did Synopsys yesterday.
Oh, did you really? Oh, great. Well, that's really good timing.
All right. So what do I see here? I would say this looks, from a trading point of view, I mean, this looks really kind of neutral. I don't really see much. And the reason why I say that is because we're right in the middle of a range and the momentum is neutral. So, I don't know, maybe if it gets down to around here, 342, you look for a little bit of a bounce. And then that's where your top would be. But, just looking at that, I just don't think it's going, oh, wait a second. I didn't see that there's news this morning. So where does that put us? Oh, so look at that.
362 is where we're at this morning.
Yeah. So not coincidentally, look at where Adobe has found resistance, right on this former resistance line. So trading in the pre-market, and we just slammed right into this resistance. So this could give us a potential trade idea here. Or if we break out, we got not a gap, but a quick move to kind of refill here, or we could reverse. When something gets to one of these important price levels, they don't tend to stay there for too long. I mean, look at this. It was literally there for hours or minutes when it got up to this former resistance level. So it's like you're hiking and you get to like a fork in the trail, or you're driving, you get to a fork in the road. They're going to go one way or the other. The odds of them staying there for too long are not that great. But I think this is a good real-time example of
So
something.
yes, this is great. It looks like we're in no man's land right now, right? Like your move should be to sit and wait, but we have some clearly defined levels that might be that trigger, that go trigger that you just talked about in the last segment there. So, okay, really good stuff there. You said you did synopsis already. What did you see here?
Yeah, or on this Adobe, just say you're considering selling it. Now would probably be a logical place to do it. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to go down, but
Sure, but it's at resistance. That's just part of the plan. Sure.
Exactly. Okay, so this synopsis, this is my stock of the day from yesterday, and this is pretty interesting. So I'm looking for a rebound. I was actually looking for a rebound, and it looks like it's happening. So this is another example of market memory. Market important levels can remain important for a long time. So resistance back in December of 21, resistance in August of 22, resistance in April of 23, finally breaks out, reverses, finds support in April, huge rally after, sells off, finds support, and now we're starting to rebound again. So look at yesterday. That's some really strong action, and then there's some follow through this morning. And yeah, I mean, I think this thing is, look at this massive gap here.
What a gap on that chart. My God.
Yeah, so I think this thing could. Different stocks have different personalities, right? Because different people trade them, and that's what's reflected in the action.
Yeah.
And this stock, as you can see, is prone to these rapid moves higher. So, I mean, I think that this was I think that there's a good chance that, well, let's look at this a little bit more. Maybe I would wait for that bottom there to get cleared, and that's pretty much right where we're at, for just under 450.
Yeah, we're at 443. That's nothing for this stock.
But given the strength of the market, and my guess is that probably breaks and it probably moves ahead.
Okay. Really good stuff there on synopsis. Eric, adding some context here. There was also news that ARK bought up some shares that might accelerate that rebound. That actually, I think, puts Mark's level there of actually adds some importance to it. And then another good mention here from Jeremy, CNC, which is a stock we just talked about, maintained equal weight at Barclays. So was there a price target adjustment there, Jeremy? Let me know. But generally speaking, if it's not a new rating, that might have less of an impact there.
That, you know what, I want to mention that about these brokerage ratings, because I don't even pay attention to them because they're inherently biased. Now, the firms, the broker dealers that put out that research are typically parts of investment banks, and investment banks make more money off investment banking than they do off selling research. So they don't want to, these analysts can't make companies look bad because could potentially turn away business. If you're the CEO of a company and you want to do a bond deal and you need an investment banker, you're not going to call someone who has a sell rating on your stock. You're going to call the person who has the super duper buy rating with the target price of $1 million. So that's why only 6% of ratings on Wall Street are sells. It's very rare to see a sell rating. So you can guarantee that that's on a company that there's no chance of them ever doing investment banking business again with that sell rating. But I just think that, I'm not saying ignore those, but I wouldn't put too much.
I feel that actually in our happy hour show at the end, we have a retired analyst who used to do this for a living, and he says the exact same thing that you do. He actually expands on that and says during conference calls, a lot of these people have to be careful, right? Because they want to ask some questions that make light of some of the possible risks here, but they have to frame it in such a way where they don't sound like they're coming after the company because they want to get called again and they want to get used again. And it's kind of a tight rope that they have to walk. So
yeah. And what's pretty funny, so sometimes on the conference calls, it doesn't happen a lot, but every now and then, if stock's been going down, the broker dealer research, they're the ones that they want to let the calls through because they're always like, oh, congratulations, you guys are doing a good job. And it's like you said, they always ask them these layup questions.
Yep.
Every now and then, like some money manager will get through, like the operator doesn't know who they are. And the money manager will get through and be like, I'm paraphrasing, but you guys suck. Your stock is down 20%. What the hell is going on?
Oh man, there are a couple of stocks. I wish I could have asked a question of the board. I would have been Literally banhammered in 1 second. Okay, I know we're running out of time here. Really good stuff there on CNC and Synopsys. We also had UPS as
Oh,
a
okay.
stock that folks wanted to take a look at. And if we have time, we can do Oscar. That kind of fits into the healthcare theme that you talked about earlier, as well as CNC and UNH.
All right. So what do we see here for UPS? Well, this illustrates an interesting thing about markets and buyer's remorse. When a stock is going down, or a market for that matter, what was support can turn into resistance, right? What was support could turn into resistance. Remember, this is people buying, regretting doing so when the price drops, and telling themselves, if I can ever get out at break even, I'm going to. So that's buyer's remorse, very common in a down market. So now we have here, once again, it's happened.
Look
So
how measured this is, Mark. Look, I feel like if you zoom out just a little bit, zoom out just a little bit for me. Look at this. All of these areas are roughly the same size, depending on how you draw your lines here. This to me looks very, very orderly.
yeah, it's almost uncanny, actually.
Yeah, I was going to say most charts don't look like this, in fact.
So, I mean, I think that this is going to kind of probably continue to trend lower. But here's what we would want to look at. And this is, I think, the essence of the head and shoulders pattern. This is the inverse head and shoulders pattern. Um, so, in a market that's going down, support can become resistance. When that support stops becoming resistance, right? When that support stops becoming resistance, like if this holds or if it breaks and then we get back above it, it'll show us that there's a good chance that there's going to be a reversal happening. Let me show you this stock here. Let's see. Was it this one? Because it's a good example of it, head and shoulders, and you don't really see them too often. Yeah. So now, I mean, we broke above it, but this is but we had this big sell off, right? So this was a pretty good thing here. Now, when we're going up, so this is just a mirror image. When we're going up in a market, we get seller's remorse, and that turns resistance into support. People sell, and when they regret doing so, and when the price drops back, they place buy orders. So resistance becomes support, resistance becomes support. The market goes in like a staircase. Now, when you get up to the peak, and what was the resistance of the left shoulder does not become support right there, that's your warning sign. Warning sign number one. The second warning sign, remember this is a reversal pattern, is when the right shoulder forms at a lower level than the head. So that's a lower high. And then sure enough, we got a pretty big move higher here. Then we found support and now we're higher. But at the time, that was a pretty, pretty low or I don't know. I don't want to say obvious, but pretty compelling, I guess,
Yeah.
reason to get into the trade.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think that's pretty cool. And there's also a good example of it in boring old Mohawk Industries. So look at this, resistance becomes support. It's like the old staircase, resistance becomes support. And once that resistance makes that conversion into support, that tends to set the stage for the next move higher. So that happened here, resistance became support, moved higher. And as long as the market holds up, I think that this is got some more upside in it. My target would be up around here, right around 147 and 148.
Okay.
Okay, what was next?
I think that was all of the ones that we had here. Let me just make sure. Oscar, that was sorry, OSCR, and that kind of fit into our healthcare theme that we've already touched on.
All
So
right.
this also kind of feels like no man's land, but I'm curious to what your take is.
Yeah, I think it kind of feels like no man's land too. Maybe a little bit of downside, but nothing here really sticks out at me for a trade. But in the future, if we want to look at the important levels for a potential breakout, 23 peak here. So I know it's a ways to go, but if this gets up to 23 and tests and looks like it's going to get ahead, then it potentially could be a breakout. And the reason why a breakout is considered a bullish thing is because resistance is a large group of sellers. If you can get above that, you can infer that those sellers have either finished or canceled their orders. So breaking resistance is a graphical illustration that a large amount of supply has been taken off of the market. So whenever you take supply off a market, it sets the stage for a move higher, because when the buyers come in, or the demand side, they're going to have a hard time finding sellers, and they're going to have to really jack the price up.
Okay. All right, Mark, really good stuff yet again. It's just you make a habit of doing that. Are you sad golf season is ending?
Not ending for me.
That's the right answer. That's what I wanted to hear. Good stuff. All right, Mark, thanks again for sharing your expertise. Folks,
Okay,
if you
everyone.
want,
I'll see you next week.
If you want more of Mark here, be sure to subscribe to his Substack. I went ahead and put the link there right on the screen there, markpetrinoscmt.substack.com. You can read all of the stuff that Mark puts out. He's very, very generous with his time, and we are thankful for that. So be sure to support our guy, Mark, there. Okay. Let's see. We're going to get to movers here. We're expecting 13 in the next couple of seconds here. He just likes to be dramatically late. Just kind of keep me on my toes here. Let me get rid of this here real quick. Sorry. Normally the producer takes care of this for me, but okay. Jeremy says, love Mark's work. That's awesome. And that's why we bring him on here. And that's why we're going to keep bringing him on here. But let's go ahead and take a look at some of the movers here. I will, we'll see if 13 is out there. Haven't seen him yet today. Hope all is well, but we'll go ahead and get that done here as soon as possible. I'm just going to go ahead and get started here. We're going to start with GlucoTrack. This is going to be ticker GCTK. Okay. GlucoTrack shares are trading higher after the company announced it entered into a purchase agreement with Sixth Borough Capital. Sixth Borough Capital committed to purchase up to $20 million of the company's stock. Stock was about $4 or just under $5 yesterday. We've traded above 14 here today. We've come back into the VWAP. And I think what is the most encouraging so far about this is that we haven't round tripped this move, right? Some of these movers that we've taken a look at, they've had an extreme move higher, then they give it back real quick. This is actually holding the VWAP right now. I've got VWAP at 1105. It's 1120 right now. So this is actually looking pretty good. Quick look around the horn here on the short interest, 4.81% of the float shorted there with 1.16 days to cover. That comes on an average volume there of 1 million shares. Today, we've traded 25.5 million shares. This is a micro float stock, under 1 million shares in the float here. That's going to make it pretty crazy. All right. Let's go ahead and bring 13. He did 13. I was worried there that you just celebrated way too much and that you weren't going to show up here on Friday.
Oh, I don't think that's going to happen.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to see.
But hi, how is everybody this morning?
Everything's good. And Jay Rice, welcome back. Welcome back. Indeed. Jay, we're going to focus on positivity here in this channel and making some money. We are extremely happy to have you back. Let me know if you see anything out there that looks like a pretty decent trade. We'll be happy to cover that here. 13, I just broke down GlucoTrack here. You have anything on this that you want to go over? I'm assuming you covered this one.
Yeah, so Sixth Borough Capital has made an investment commitment with this company to purchase up to $20 million worth of their stock. Now, if you're looking at their float and their market capitalization, you're probably wondering, well, is this company even worth $20 million? The way that they're working this is it seems like they're kind of walking this the price of this stock up. If you read the form, oops, I'm on the wrong ticker, sorry. If you read the form 8, that was put out yesterday, just before 5 p.m. It breaks down how they're going to do all this, but this is going to be a commitment of purchasing their stock over 2 years in different tranches. The company has about 2 quarters worth of cash, so this will certainly help them out. But keep that in mind; they could also raise capital here too as well.
Yeah,
that would also increase the share structure, but. What they're, now that we've gone from, a 4.3 million market capitalization to double that overnight because of the price that has been going up. If you read the Form 8, you can see how they're planning on buying as the price goes up. So kind of walking this stock up as part of the, is the plan with Sixth Borough Capital. That's going to take place over 2 years. And there's subject some things that are subject to change in that agreement. But so far, that's what they've got out there right now in that format. So you can even care to read that. That's up to you. As far as levels go for this one, we are. I thought I had some for here. Hold on a second. We are at $11 right now, so that puts us just shy. Oh yeah, that's right. That puts us just shy of the 65 EMA on the daily chart, which is at 1209, almost 1210. There's a little bit of, that's pretty much the big resistance area that I see from here. But there could be a little bit of resistance in this 11 handle, but I think the big one is going to be just after 12 at 1209, 1210.
Okay. Awesome. Really good stuff there. Good morning. Keeping it up. And Patrick, Dip Buyer, and anyone else that I might have missed, good morning and welcome. Okay, we got another stock here that just looks like this. You probably didn't cover this because this looks like it is spy. So let's F it and do it live.
Do it live.
As per our motto here. This is ticker AGAE. This is Allied Gaming. Allied Gaming and entertainment shares are trading higher after the company announced an initial investment in Bitcoin and Ethereum as part of its treasury strategy. Now, really quickly here, I want to make sure that my new workspace, it did capture that. How about that? Okay, absolutely fantastic. So this new workspace that I've designed just to capture these PRs right when they come out so we can make some quick trades on them. It is working. Obviously, I can't do much if I'm hosting right now, but nonetheless, what we set up here is working, and that's fantastic. Let's go ahead and take a look at this when I switch back to the movers here. Please don't crash. Thank you. All right, that initial impulse move that took us to about 286. We're backing off a little bit, but we are so far holding the VWAP. In fact, that looks like it moved right back down to the VWAP. 17.82% of the float shorted here with 5.9 days to cover. Wow, finally we have one with some pretty high short interest. That days to cover comes on a ridiculously low 70,000 shares of volume on average. Today we've traded over 7 million in what feels like just a few minutes here. This another one of the micro floats under 1 million shares. So this could have some juice here today. This is again ticker AGAE. Remember, if this does get juice and this starts going crazy, and this is one of the stocks that we're trading here today, remember that this is one of those that you want to take your gains on quickly. Make sure that you don't have a winning trade turn into a bag holding trade. That's the primary goal that we're going to have here on some of these high flying movers. 13, you got any thoughts on this?
You don't remember this one, do you?
No, I'm sorry to say that I don't.
All right.
Was this a different ticker?
So no, I don't think it was. Maybe, but I don't think it was. This is a blast from the past that we got this from our friend in Happy Hour. This was one of those really junky names that could be good. This is an old idea from back in like 2021.
Wow. I don't remember.
Okay. Next time we have a happy hour, we'll try to bring this one up because I think this is one of the ones that was discussed. I'm pretty sure it is. Some of us even traded it, but it didn't really do a whole lot since 2021 up until like just this year, in June. So kind of interesting that we're seeing this one again. A Bitcoin, Ethereum treasury, that's another one of those. So not surprised. But this one used to have like some kind of gaming platform that I think they sold, and they just were sitting on a bunch of cash, and they've been sitting on a bunch of cash for a while looking to do something with it. And they also had some kind of gaming competition platform in Vegas. But now
this wasn't the old SLGG, was it?
No.
Super League Gaming? No. Okay.
No. Here, I'll type it out, but for you in Slack. But this is an oldie, like a blast from the past. But anyway, as far as where this goes today, let me see here on a smaller time frame. This just went out came out of nowhere. I would have to say it looks to me like 210 is going to be a resistance area. 2 to 210 is the next resistance area I see. If we get above that. It looks like 250 is the big area. That's where a lot of consolidation back from June kind of appears here, is about that 250 level. So from 250 to about 350, lots of consolidation in there. I think those are going to be your next upside resistance areas.
Okay. All right. I'm all for a blast from the past here. Let's see if we can have some pretty good results with that. Really good stuff. Okay. Next on the list here is going to be COCP. Someone mentioned this in the chat earlier. This is Co-Crystal Pharma shares are trading higher after the company presented CDI 988 at its first oral antiviral candidate for the norovirus at the 9th International, Calcavirus Conference? Kelly Savire. I don't know what that is. Anyway, really good data here. This did pop almost as high as 4. Did not quite print 4. It backed off here. We did lose the VWAP, but so far we've managed to hold the 15 EMA. We'll see what's next on deck for this one. Negligible short interest on this name. 0.53% of the float shorted. That's 1.5 days to cover. That comes on 74,000 shares of volume. Today we've traded 51 million. Float here higher than the last couple that we talked about at 7.8 million. One key takeaway that we've seen from all the stocks that we've covered here today, the average 100-day volume is extremely low. And that should be another sign here that if this is something that you're trading here, probably want to have this trade wrapped up by the end of the day, no matter which direction it is. If you take a small L on it, it is what it is. If you win on it, congrats. But you should probably be wrapped up in this one before the end of the day here. 13. What do you think on COCP? I know we've traded this one before too.
We certainly have, and the news wasn't that different. If you look at August 5th, this company also presented this very same data at a different conference, the Department of Defense Medical Conference, and they discussed all this exact information. If you look at the daily chart, you can see that on August 4th, it started going ahead of this. But anyway, this company this is for a phase 1 study, and they're gonna be starting a phase 1B study for this same drug before the end of this year. So there's a future catalyst for you. It's got a couple of quarters of cash. I would think that they'd have to raise at some point. Same thing with GCTK. They also look like they'd have to raise capital at some point soon. I think we talked about that, but this one in particular, only 2 quarters worth of cash left, and I think they're going to have to do a capital raise at some point. Could be as early as today. Could be weeks or months from now.
Okay, so we'll see what we get here today. This one a little bit the chart looks a little bit less appealing as it really kind of pared back some of those gains. But okay, we will do BBAI. Absolutely. Well, let me do that in a little bit. I'm just going down the list. 13. Was there any other stocks on the list that you wanted to make sure I covered before we?
Just the one you got there.
The one I got here. Perfect. We're going to roll with it. This is ticker HCWB, Hotel Charlie Whiskey Bravo. This is HCW Biologics. Stock did pop. Looks like it found some pretty significant resistance at 7, both in the after hours and the pre-market this morning. We did have one of these opening pre-market wicks that goes all the way up to 8.5, but it really does look like the resistance, the true resistance there, if you will, closer to about 7. This doesn't have fresh news, but some news from September 9th here. Scientists developed tissue factor targeting T-cell engagers against solid tumors constructed with proprietary TRBC product delivery and development platform technology. I'm not sure if that news is causing it to pop here, but it does look like there's a pretty significant reaction. Let's see if there's any other stats that might kind of clue us in here. 14.44% of the float shorted here with 1 day to cover. That comes on an average volume of 1.6 million shares per day. Today we've done 11. Float here 1.7. So what do you think on this one, 13?
So this one we've traded before. I'm pretty sure we have back in August, because they also had similar news regarding the same kind of solid tumor therapy, but this was not a tissue factor targeting T-cell engager. This was for I'm going to mess this name up, pembrolizumab based.
Hey, I'm going to give you credit for even just trying it. I mess those up on a regular basis, so good for you.
This was back on August 25th. Pretty sure we traded this because I still got the levels out there for that.
Perfect.
But it's not exactly the same news. So could see some similar price action. We actually ended up hanging out here for a little bit after that news announcement, but the week later we still ended up losing that $5 level where it was holding up at, and traded back down to where we were yesterday. So here we are back over that $5 level, trying to get to what I think is 640. And it looks like we're making our way up there a little bit right now. But 640 is the next level I've got. If we do manage to get past that, we are going to be getting into a little bit of territory that has some historical supply. That gets even thicker as we approach 780, 785. So those will be the next upside resistance areas that I see from here. Is going to be 640 and 780.
Okay. Good stuff here. HCWB. Really quickly, just wanted to mention WLDS. This has been a recent runner here. It's not gone yet. Resistance really does seem to be this 1075 to 11 area. Actually, if you take a look at this chart here, you can kind of eyeball a little bit of a triangle in there. So maybe you want to watch that here for today. I don't think there was anything new on this that we necessarily need to cover.
Other than the offering.
Never mind. I am so sorry. Wearable devices. But this was from yesterday, right? Yeah. Okay.
I think so.
Wearable devices. Yeah. So this is just a rehash thing. This was actually from yesterday. The key takeaway from that is that it got bought. That offering got bought. Very much like we saw in Ondas, which ripped after that offering got bought. Yeah.
Didn't they? This looks like a reprice because they were selling it at $4 a share yesterday. This looks like either a new offering.
Yeah, it looks like it's pricing some more. So I almost wonder if this was just kind of added on. Registered direct offering. Yeah. Institutional deal. So they did 1 million right at the $4 price, and now they're doing 670,000 at the $6 price.
The stock price reacted, but it didn't go down very much. I mean, look at the time that it was announced, and look at the drop that we had this morning.
Yeah. See if we get back above the VWAP here. Here is that drop that you were talking about. Basically took us to the pre-market lows. See if we can recapture the VWAP. Okay, WLDS, that is going on there. Did you have anything else on this? I didn't even mean to cover it, but
no, whatever you guys want to look at, we'll break down.
Yeah, you know what? There were a number of folks asking about BBAI, so let's just get that done here too. BBAI actually does have some pretty good movement here this morning, and it's on some decent pre-market volume. Like looking back over the last several sessions here, the pre-market's been relatively uneventful until today. Big Bear AI accelerates U.S. arrivals at Nashville International Airport. So I'm not even sure what that means. This was from yesterday in the after hours. It's definitely affecting it here today. With Veriscan, Big Bear has biometric technology supporting EPP citizens arriving. So this is going to be interesting. We've actually been talking about like verification and identity verification a lot in Happy Hour and some other names that are connected to it. Looks like BBAI moving plus 7+% here this morning on the back of that. This might be in play here today. This absolutely might be in play here today. All right, let me take a quick look around the horn on this one, and then I'll have you break it down for us. 19.8% of the float shorted. Significant there. 1.43 days to cover. Less significant. Now, on average, stock trades 118 million shares of volume. It's got a float of 367 million. So unlike all of the other stocks that we've taken a look at from the movers list, this one's super thick by comparison. That's thick with 3 C's, by the way, if you were keeping track at home. So I'm assuming that we're going to get to that average volume there, already doing 12.5 here today. But what do you think on this? What do you think on the action, the news, and where this might go here today?
Well, I don't think the news is that surprising. It's great for BBAI. It's a theme that we've been kind of discussing and looking around for names that might actually move really well on biometrics and identity verification. But as far as the technicals go, right now it's currently holding above its VWAP, and it's trying to hang out hold above its VWAP. So as long as that continues to happen, we might see some more of a turnaround here going into the open. Could probably draw a bit of a trend line there from the highs that we've the 2 peaks we made in the pre-market here, both at 553 and the one that goes to 534. There you go. So as long as we hold VWAP, we have a chance of breaking through that trend line. If we lose VWAP, then I'm going to look at the 65 EMA as the next area of support. We've already had that provide support once in this pre-market session. And it also looks like a little bit just out of the pre-market gate here. around 415, 420 this morning. So those are going to be the two support levels that I see. And that trend line that we just drew, that's the area we got to break. And if we get above that, the areas of resistance that I see are going to be the 334, 335, I'm sorry, 534, 535 area. And then let's just say 550. I know that 553 is the high, but it seems like with no closes above there, I don't know exactly where the big resistance level is. So it could be anywhere between 540 and 553. So I'll just say 550 for now.
Okay. All right. Good stuff there on BBAI. Lion here saying BBAI is an early stage, but if you can be patient for the next 5 years, you will get rewarded big. And this is kind of what I meant about the whole like verification, identity verification theme. I really do think that is going to be a theme that proliferates. And Lion saying here, if you can wait, if this company executes on that, I think I agree with that. And I think that there are some others in the space that might also be winners. This is something we should at least keep an eye on here. One of the other stocks that we've talked about that's tied to this, that's extremely thin and low float and cheap, is IDAI. We've talked about that a few times here. Full disclosure, I do own a handful of shares on that one. I don't know. I don't have any expectations, and I don't know what's going to happen, but I am starting to keep my ears open on this entire theme here. I think there's going to be a number of different things. And I'm seeing a bunch of other tickers here. Are you guys suggesting tickers that are also in this space?
And how long did it take for Palantir to get to where it is?
Yeah.
I mean, we were talking about that since 2020, 2021, and now it's 10 times worth or more than when it was back then. Also with BBAI, I think I found that resistance that I was kind of looking for. It's the 65 EMA on the daily. That's at 554, almost 555. So that's I was kind of like maybe 550, but let's go with that 65 EMA, 554.
Okay. Good stuff here. All right. Really quickly here, Nazreen. We will take a look at ANGX, but I'm gonna in payment for that, if you will. Please stop spamming. You can ask for a ticker once. There's no reason to spam in all caps over and over and over again. I think that you're new here, so I'm gonna show you some grace. If you do this again, you will not be here for very long. Here is ANGX. This is Angel Studios. It looks like this used to be a different stock, right? This is a SPAC, if I'm not mistaken.
ANGX?
I think so. No results there. Platform allows fans to. This used to be Port
Southport Acquisition Corp.
Okay, I thought so here. So okay, so this to me looks like just kind of a new issue. I don't really have a whole lot on this. If this is a SPAC here, I almost think we should wait for this to be de-SPAC'd.
Yeah, I mean, let's see, where's it at? Over $10, so it's likely gonna go down because the SPAC price is $10, and typically when a stock de-SPACs, it goes well below that. Very seldomly have SPACs, gone higher than $10 post merger. DraftKings comes to mind.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I don't have a lot of other information on this. Like, I don't have a short interest pull on this. I don't really see anything on the insiders. So hard for me to really give you anything other than the chart on this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's any. I mean, it's up today, 24% on the post merger. Is that what it is, or what happened here that caused it to go up?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, and it's only traded 79,000 shares. Very, very low volume. It's got a low average. Nazreen, this is not something that we normally take a look at or trade on a regular basis. And please stop using all caps.
I don't think there's a trade here unless we start to get some more volume. If you're looking for something that's more of a swing, I mean, maybe I think you'd have to do your research on this company to know where the value is. But I don't think that there's a trade here today. Okay.
All right. There you go. Anything else from the list on here that we want to do? Let's see.
I saw that. Yes, you're right. GRIMP was also a SPAC, and that did get hammered. But I think it held up okay. Right. And then
Smoked
Joby,
tuna. Sorry?
Joby also had news, and we're getting flagged about that. They're going to participate in the White House pilot program.
Okay, let's do that. Let's also do ELBM, Electra Battery. I think, Tuna, you had mentioned this. It looks like this is moving right now. Is this moving on news, though? Indeed it is. Electra Battery Materials secures 17.5 million. What is that? Is that a different, or is that dollars? Canadian dollars, of course. Funding term sheet from the Invest Ontario to build North America's first battery-grade cobalt sulfate refinery.
Oh, okay. So I guess we're just kind of throwing, the safety and human rights violations out the window. Sorry, I'm kind of just like a little flabbergasted that we're just going to go forward with cobalt refining, given all the backlash.
Yeah, I guess that kind of surprises me too. Taking a look here, 1.45% of the float shorted with 1.56 days to cover. Stock on average trades 114,000 shares. Today we've done 5.5 million. Float here is just under 18 million. You think this goes here today? You think this is on deck? What about you, Tuna? Let us know.
I think this might go even better next week.
Okay.
You know what I mean? You get what I'm saying? I guess
No.
not. Rate cuts
Sorry,
next
man.
week. Rate cuts next week.
Oh, I see.
This is it's a miner or a processor. It's metals and mining. They tend to be heavily leveraged, so lower rates tends to help stocks like this.
Okay, we'll see if we end up getting that. That is ELBM. What was the other one that you were just mentioning there?
That I was mentioning?
Yeah, just a second ago. Gosh, bless it. Sorry, my memory isn't working. I am
Joby?
frustrated. Yes, thank you. Good God. Joby Aviation. Was there news? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, there was. Joby Aviation shares are trading higher after the company said it plans to participate in the White House eVTOL integration pilot program. Yeah, I think this one's going to be on deck here today. It's ripping right now, so we want to wait this out, I think, for a possible long here. 8.72% of the float shorted. That comes on 1.92 days to cover. That comes on an average volume of 33 million shares. We've done about 3 here today. But this absolutely ripping here, up just about 9%. What do you think, 13?
Oh, I haven't read into this, so I don't know, how much it's going to move this stock up. Let me look at the chart, then maybe we can get a better idea of where this goes on this news. What are we up to? Almost 15 now. So, okay, so we're pretty much at the top end of this consolidation here from August. And then above that, we don't have a whole lot of resistance until maybe 1625. So if we get through 15 and we can get above 1550, I think 1625 is going to be the next big area of resistance in Joby. So if there's a trade today, that's what I'd be looking at.
Yeah, maybe for a break above this 15, and I would probably put 16.5 as the next spot that might be another resistance. That's actually kind of an area that goes up to about 17.5, 18.
Yeah.
On Joby. So, okay, really good stuff. And then the other thing you folks were mentioning, Ondas. How about it? Ondas, this has been so good to us. Did we get some news here? Yep. Lake Street raising their price target from 5 to 8 as they chase the performance here in Ondas. A look at the pre-market here. We were lower when I first woke up. Now it looks like we're trying to trade higher here. Giddy up. Let's go. With Ondas. Okay, with how much time do we have? Less than 2 minutes. Let me flip over to the main workspace. If there's anything else that you folks want to take a look at, we'll do that here real quick. I wanted to see what the scanner was giving us here today. COCP, it looks like that might be setting up for the next leg down. We looked at that a little bit earlier here. OPI, that's penny stock. I'm going to skip that.
Getting asked about LDI. That was on a nice.
Let's do that. That's been a good one. Yeah, good call.
Yeah. We had a new high print in the pre-market here of 466. That's not a new all-time high or anything. That's just in the first time in a while. This is getting it's not getting support at the 65 EMA right now, but this candle still has a minute left in it. So if we can get above that, then we might be able to push back higher. But to me, this looks like it's getting a little weak here into the pre-market. So if we can hold above the 65 EMA and recapture VWAP as we approach the open, we might be able to push a little bit higher. Resistance to me right now looks like it's going to be at about 460, and support, the earliest support besides that 65 EMA is going to be down at about 430, and beneath that looks to me like maybe 415 or the 200 EMA on the 5 minute.
Okay, really quick before we open here, thinking about it, mentioning Nectar, that's ticker NKTR, Nectar Therapeutics. Thinking about it, tell me what you think here. I think this is on a huge, this looks like this wants to try 50
No volume.
here.
There's no volume.
2,000 shares here today.
Yeah.
But it does look like, just looking at the chart here, it looks like it really wants to try 50 here today. And I would say that your next resistance area is 60.
Let's watch for volume expansion.
Yeah, that's your trigger to watch. You're absolutely right there, Tim.
And we open.
We are open. Let's have a great Friday.
Let's
folks.
finish a great week off. How about that? This has been a fun week.
It's not how I would describe it, but there has been some pockets of fun in here. Tesla ripping out of the gate. Ondas also trading up here out of the gate. Apple higher. Palo Alto higher.
BBAI about to break that trend line, or maybe it's going to go into a halt, but this came right up to near that trend line. Let's see if we get a break here. Large seller at 540. AGAE.
Thinking about it, you were mentioning Nectar at 27 and got no response, so you were doing a victory lap on us. I see.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. As a reminder here, we don't catch every stock here. I'm sorry about that, and it's not personal, I can assure you.
No, we're a lot of tickers. Everyone wants to know something. We can try it and go over it once we get some volume to slow down or leave the market. Then we have some time, so we'll see if we can get you then.
AGAE right to the VWAP here.
Yep. There we go. Looking to get over 2. BBAI down. Joby is taking off. No kidding. 1514 current high in Joby. So we got through that 15 level. Let's see if we can get up to that 1550 that we were talking about. Looks like HCWB is heading towards the 200 EMA. GCTK is heading toward its 65 EMA slowly, and looks like COCP is trying to turn around and go higher here. Not sure if we're going to get a breakout or not. It's kind of whipping back and forth, but the resistance level from right here is going to be those 215 and that 9 EMA, and then the 275 area.
And ELBM just announced an offering.
LDI is getting a little bit of price action here. It dropped out of the gate, trying to come back up to the pre-market resistance area of 4. I think it said it was 450. And here we go with BBAI breaking over that trend line, trying to take out that 540 seller.
That was a good one. All right, I'm going to step away for 1 sec. I'll leave BBAI on the screen. BRB.
Sounds good. Meanwhile, I will look around and see what else is giving some moves here. Looks like GCTK is still trying to get back above its VWAP after coming near its 65 EMA. HCWB coming down to its 200, probably going to end up testing that for sure. COCP trying to get above, well, it's looking like it's moving towards 260 right now. Need to see this get above 275. We have that 327, 328 level that we mentioned earlier as the big resistance area. But this is starting to move up. We go with COCP, looking okay. What else do we have that's moving here? Looks like BBAI just pulled back. COCP is 82% on TS. Okay. Excuse me. Izzy, nice job. 1 for 1 on Joby. Smoke Tuna, you're mentioning ANEB is set up. Let's take a look at this. Okay, now what are you looking for here? I see how it looks like we still need to kind of turn around and get some support. Maybe we come down to the 65 EMA. Is this what's going on with this? It doesn't look like it's moving right now. And it looks like the VWAP has been suppressing the upside all pre-market. So when we get a move over that VWAP, that's going to be the breakout to that's going to be your indicator, I think. But what about ANEB that is a setup? Because it doesn't look set up to me right now. It looks like it's about to decline some more. But you let me know. ASST is moving.
Let's check it out. ASST. That's actually been a good one for us.
It looks like it's moving down.
It is. Indeed, it is. And actually, this is the consolidation area in the after hours here, right about $9. I will say, if it holds $9, maybe there.
Yeah. that's a good point. I think you might be right about that. If it doesn't hold there, gosh, maybe around 850, but I don't know. If this loses 9, I think I'd want to see it recapture 9 before a trade. Let's see if it holds. Saidu, one of our space plays. SIDU, sure enough, it's taken off. Let's see why. I don't see any news today. The last piece of news that we got was that they evaluated data fusion capabilities with Automatic Identification System Commission.
Wow.
Automatic Identification Sensor for onboard their Lizzie Sats. Okay, so they are the ones that make those Lizzie Sats. Don't know how this translates into such significant upside, but I guess we really don't need to care, do we? This is taken off.
AGAE. This is trying to move above the VWAP. We've got to see if this holds above the VWAP.
Okay, so for SIDU, if this continues higher, it looks like $2 is going to be the spot because we are in a gap fill right now with SIDU. That gap fill is at just over $2, like 201, 202. So if we get this volume expansion to continue, that's where I see this potentially going. Looks like we're getting a halt here with GCTK. That's a halt to the upside.
All right, this might be our big one here.
COCP at loading dock. Or dead
Wow.
zone. Okay. Yeah.
This GCTK is at a very interesting spot for this to get halted to. Round number there, right at 12. Looks like a curl right off the VWAP. We've got $2 to the upside here as a very, very obvious target. I'm curious to see how this goes.
Thanks for mentioning Veritone stock. So this had an offering yesterday that took this thing down. It's been recovering ever since. And it looks like it wants to get back over 4. Oh, I didn't even notice he went away. Jay, you're mentioning that RH went green. Reactions to earnings, yep. And then the earnings themselves, they missed. But I think there was we had talked about this. Let me look and see.
Yeah, we looked briefly at RH yesterday.
Yeah, and I was trying to think of the reason we came up with why it reversed and started going back up. And I think that we're just looking towards rate cuts and how that's going to help the consumer out a little bit, and might see more consumer discretionary purchases, which is what this is. So just, I guess it's kind of that thought that we had, but could be more than that.
Okie dokie.
CGTK, what's that doing? Is that open now? No, it's halted.
That's GCTK, and we're still halted there at 12. Now, what time did that? Is my halt thing working today? Let's see. No, see, right around the open, it doesn't get those timestamps. All right.
A lot of these pull in here.
I'm curious to see what GTCK looks like out of this halt, to be quite honest with you. No position, but curious to see how that goes. AGAE broke 2.
All right.
That was the other one that we had flagged here. Yep, sure did. Yep, this, and you know what? I want to see this volume continue here, and if that happens, I think we can go to the top end of this range. Up to 600. Did it really? Oh my God. Oh, thank you, Kenneth. Kenneth, dude. Awesome stuff there, Kenneth. 9:34 was your halt. So we've got a minute or 6 minutes.
AGAE looking for 250. It's getting it. Not getting it right now, but it's moving up. Looking at a seller in the way at 230. Just brought another one in at 220. Seller's starting to step in. Let's chew them up.
Jay, I love this. Jay, I love where your head is at right now. 4 green days in a row, trim and trail day, in my opinion. Too many people showing off their P&Ls last night. Actually, Jay, you're hitting on something. That's actually one of the reasons I don't do that. I actually think that does more harm than good in almost all cases. I might be in the minority on that, but this is a pretty good inference that you're making from. And with 4 days in a row, we said on Happy Hour last night, Joe, we really we expect this market to pull back at some point. And we're also thinking that this might kind of line up with a sell the event rate cut that we're going to get next week.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Getting a little bit of a pull here in the broader market. Not seeing any news, but we just
NASDAQ's pulling.
Yeah. So not exactly sure what the news is that's causing it, but
I don't see. Let me check my other economic VTSD. That's not the right ticker, is it? Jennifer, how do you participate in Happy Hour? You have to be an active subscriber of Benzinga Pro. And GCTK, this is halted to the downside, right out of it.
Looks like there's a lot of running for the exit for the moment.
Barat saying too much euphoria in the market, and Jay is correct. X is all P&L screenshots. That's notable. Jay, I appreciate you bringing that up.
That's a good.
What?
No, that's funny to me because it's true. But sometimes the truth is funny.
Yes. And Jay, thank you for bringing that up. Barat, I appreciate you confirming that. And VS, that's okay. VSTD, Sade, this does look like it's curling here. We just talked with Mark about when a stock is trading up off of a bottom, whether it's an intraday or a longer term bottom. You want to see it maybe confirm that. This looks like it's trying. Let's see if we can get above that 208. That's your 65 EMA on the 5. Let me see. We were sick in the market. It's bouncing back a little bit here. Maybe it was just. Let's see. Let's
quite yet, in my view. Let me just look at it. Yeah, we did get a bit of a bounce, but we're still in a decline. A downtrend from the high out of the open here.
Oh my!
What's up?
I don't know. President Trump live on Fox News with a high degree of certainty he believes the Kirk assassin is in custody. I don't know if that's affecting the market though. My initial reaction was that maybe that's what the news is because it feels big. I don't know though. I don't want to say that. That
news came out well over an hour ago.
Okay. So that's not it. It just appeared in the news feed, the timing in the news feed.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't think that's it. I don't think there was news on that little bit of a pullback. And it looks like that pullback, at least so far, is getting bought.
I mean, so I'm looking at the SPY right now, and it looks like we did bounce a little bit in the last candle, but we haven't recaptured the high from that last candle yet. So I don't really view that as kind of recovering. I need to see some levels get recaptured here, and we're not doing that yet.
Okay, Rocket bounced a little bit here. Tesla is ripping. Oh my God, look at the Tesla calls that are going off. These are calls for today. I can't even click on it. It's moving so fast. Look at Tesla.
Mm-hmm.
Tesla 3. Who called? Didn't someone just call 380 as a target? Someone did. Help me out. I could have sworn someone maybe even yesterday.
Did. No, I think somebody was saying 380.
Was it from our Happy Hour group?
No, it was in this chat.
It was in this chat. Okay,
sweet. I remember seeing it earlier this morning, and because we were always talking about 360 was the next big resistance area. We moved through that, back tested it yesterday.
Yep.
And then
that 20 points came fast, dude. Wow. It was Bob. Bob, you get a register ring. Damn it.
We'll take that one too.
At least that's a good mistake. There you go, Bob. And Yassine. We're going to hand out register rings all day here today. Good stuff on Tesla. I wish I was in that. That was a really good call. See, Yassine, were you talking about this yesterday? I could have sworn we talked about that I might be mixing some of these shows up. That's my own fault.
They're all just kind of blending together.
They all are just kind of blending together. That is for sure.
So Ryan Summerall is mentioning that we're missing the PSKY news to buy Warner.
Yeah, so this is interesting to me. So here's your PSKY. This is Paramount Skydance. We got this news yesterday in the regular session. It traded higher, and it looks like we have some extension here today. Let me actually read the news for you, and then we can react to it if you want. Paramount Skydance preps bid for Warner Brothers Discovery. That was per the Wall Street Journal yesterday in the afternoon. An Ellison-backed bid. Well, that's good timing. You could probably use just some extra money from the Oracle pop that it had in order to get this thing done.
Yeah, I don't know about this. I mean, they do cite the regulatory hurdles. I think the big issue is the debt. Because these companies have, I mean, I think Paramount's okay, but Warner Brothers has been having, as far as I recall, has been having trouble for a while. Maybe they're doing better now, but they've been pumping out crap that loses money. So
Very is on the move. No, you're right about that. I'm sorry for interrupting. Very on the move here. Good mention. Tuna. I'd actually like to see this pull back a little bit. And Glucotrack still halted, by the way.
All right. Let's see what else we got going on here. So yeah, it's halted. COCP is now halted to the downside. HCWB is still trying to get support from that 200 EMA on the 5-minute, which is right around 5. We're getting a little bit of pullback from AGAE, BBAI, also trying to find a support around $5. Joby doesn't appear like it's finished selling, but it's trying to recover. We'll see if it has finished selling or not in a little bit. Lots of names just kind of pulling here after we had
except for Tesla.
Well, I guess it's just all leaving all these junk names and rotating back into Tesla.
IONQ getting a mention there in the chat. ISPC's on the scanner. That was one that was on here earlier in the week. Looks like this is trading up here.
There was an article I saw earlier this morning about IONQ, and now to see this run, I wish I had read into it some more.
While you're reading that right now, Smoke Tuna saying all these movers today are pre-market movers. They may not do well when the market opens, and that is exactly what we're seeing here. Izzy mentioning that Amazon is down. Let me know if there's a scalp level there, what that number level. Actually, maybe it's holding right here. 229? Trade against 229, Izzy?
Tennis is life. There's really only one level left from here, and that is going to be 54.74. That is the high from January 7th. That is the all-time high, and we are about to get over it and make new all-time highs. So we are breaking out in an ascending triangle pattern here in IONQ. If you look at a daily chart,
got it. Oh yes, right here, bang. There you go. IONQ with a move here today. MBIS back up to highs.
Now, if we want to get an idea of where the IONQ might end up going, I don't know if you've got the data going back to 2021, but there is a peak where we can draw a trend line starting from there through the trend line of from January, or from the high from January, and that gives us just shy of $60 as a potential area where this where Ionic might go to before we start getting some significant pullback. So a breakout of this high from January, that takes us to almost 60. I'd say somewhere between 58 and 60.
Okay, good stuff there. ISPC, I agree with Tuna. This does need some more volume, and looky here, folks. Looky here, folks. We are right up against I'm going to call this a 13 trend line, just one that we can identify here very, very easily. ISPC right at a key spot here. We'll see if it gets over or if it brings back down.
Looks like 325 is going to be a resistance. I mean, we're ways away from there, so I don't know if we'll see it today, but that looks like a resistance area. Right now, today, ISPC is running into the 200-day SMA and getting resistance. It already tested it once this morning when it went up to 165. The 200-day SMA is at 168. So potentially a breakout coming into that if we get the volume.
Okay. Rocket looks like that might be trying to extend some of its gains from yesterday. We'll take that all day long.
BBAI trying to turn around here, moving away from the $5 level up towards VWAP now. Looks like Joby is also trying to recover.
Okay.
What else? AG8E, that's still holding above its VWAP. I'm not so sure about this one. There's a lot of sellers in the way from here. You got a seller at 215, 220, basically every 5 cents. So if we can get some volume to expand, there's a good chance we can start chunking away at those like we're doing right now.
Smoke. Sorry, go ahead. Finish.
No, go ahead and finish.
I was just gonna say Orbs is moving here. This was previously Octo, one of those big runners here. This is curling here right now. That was a good mention. Tuna on its back to VWAP.
So if we could continue to get some volume expansion here with AGAE, we can get to break through some of these other levels. We're starting to do that now. 220 is next. 225 looks like that's kind of the big one. And if we can get through that, then I don't know. There's still a lot of sellers in the way, but that might entice more buyers to step in. I'm not quite sure about AGAE right now. Just there's a lot of sellers in the way. Need to see some big volume expansion to get through all that.
Actually, Zach mentioning Ondas is hiring in Estonia in case Ryan wants a career change. Ryan loves the company and the position and the opportunity Ryan has right now. So unless I get called in to announce Chicago Blackhawks hockey games, it's doubtful I'm going anywhere. And with all due respect, I'm not moving to Estonia for that job. But good to see that they're hiring on another end of that. That is a good thing. That means that there's probably something going on there, or going to be going on if it's not started already.
We're getting a mention about QMMM, one of those that we traded, I think it was either earlier this week or it was sometime last week. This is halted right now. It looks like it's trying to get above 123.5. I can't believe I'm saying that after where it started. If it can get above that level, the next resistance I see is going to be up at about 138. Maybe 140, somewhere in there, 138 to 140, the next resistance area. And then, we can have that conversation about this crazy long wick in the pre-market that took us up to 170.
Okay. And then Bernhard, I saw that you had mentioned on Lulu. I couldn't fit it in there because we were talking about some stuff that was going on, but let me go back and actually do that here real quick. 13, if you've got something moving, please feel free to interrupt. Okay. Just jump right in there. What we had talked about on Lulu was really if it can hold this level right here. I'm going to zoom out again just to kind of reinforce what we were talking about with Mark earlier. The level that it's currently at right now, this is a resistance area back from October of 2018 that got broken in April of 2019, back tested during COVID, and excuse me, my goodness. And now we're down here again. So what I would really like to see is for this to hold 160. Better still, if this traded sideways, we actually have some positive seasonality coming up in October. And what I would love if it held that area until that positive seasonality started. But Lulu here, I really wanted to hold 160. Remember, Mark told us earlier, we want to have this confirm the curl by maybe clearing out 168 as your next level there. That's Lulu, ticker LULU.
Thank you for mentioning this, Crocodile Dumb Me, but COCP did their offering. So there's another one.
There you go. There you go. And look at that. Bang, right down.
Not going to get very far into biomed space if you don't have cash for
that is correct.
Joby, that was a great mention earlier. Let me just scroll up and see who said it. Blaze Rhino, Joby trying to reverse. Looks like that's the case. Got to get above VWAP. I have that at 1464.
I'm sorry, which one? I was reading
Joby.
Something. Joby, let me put that up on screen.
Just went right up to it. Need to get more volume to get through it. Great mentions. Great mention on Joby. I appreciate it.
I think it's moving through the VWAP as we speak here. Let me pull it up in my broker, see if this is a trade for us.
Very, very timely mention.
Yeah, 1464 is in fact that VWAP here.
And look at COCP. That is now open and it has gone almost back to start. Thanks to the offering.
Yep, complete round trip there. Let's see if Joey backtests and holds this VWAP at 1464.
I like that 1475 as a bit of a resistance area. We could print a little bit higher, but we're coming up to some resistance. Really need to see some volume expand here so we can get beyond this seller, which I see at 1485. So right in that area could be a lot of selling pressure. So we'll see if that ends up happening. Need to see the volume expand though. Looks like we're getting a recovery in a lot of these names. QMMM still trying to push up.
Tesla's still going, by the way, 383.5 as that is ripping here.
Somebody mentioned a price target over 400 today.
On Tesla? Here,
yeah.
I can grab that here for you. I want to check out WLDS here. This is setting up. That's at VWAP too. Good mention there, Sideshow. Bards of Dobja, you might even say. Here's Tesla. Let me see if we can get that.
Getting an Ionic mention. IONQ. That is just on a complete tear right now. Not a single red candle in sight. Just bullish candles all the way up. Let's see. There was a level I had mentioned earlier about where Ionic goes. Let me see how far away we are from there. We're going to go right to it, aren't we? We're going to go right to this trend line. Ryan, I'm going to have to send you this.
I'm not even surprised. Do you want me to add it to mine, or do I not have it?
If you can see data going back to 2021, sure.
I cannot.
Okay, then I will send it.
Okay, then I'll just take care of it for you. Love it, 13. Love it. Joby, that continued to move through its VWAP. We are now 20 cents higher than the VWAP.
Check your Slack.
Got it.
So that puts us. I mean, we're looking for 58 to 60 in Ionic.
That is amazing. If we get up there,
And if we touch that trend line, man, oh man, another good Friday.
and I wouldn't even be surprised, given what we've seen before. Would not even be surprised.
Yeah, Tennis. I think that you were the one that was on Ionic this morning. That was a great call. And I really wish I had paid more attention to the news that I saw about it, because I was like, oh, okay, interesting. I was like, getting ready this morning, kind of looking through the news feed, and I saw something about Ionic, and I just neglected to read into it. I should have done that now. Can't read everything, unfortunately. I have 2 eyes and a short attention span. Where's the halt for Ionic? I don't think it's moving quick enough. That might be the case. Let's see here. Looks like we're starting to run into a bit of a top out. 55.42, which is
55.4. Okay, we're right there.
Which is interesting because that is a little bit higher than the January high. So we have made new all-time highs in Ionic just now. The high previous to that was 54.74. Archer also has news. Hot dang. Let's see what they got going on here. Oh, they're going to... okay, so it's the same thing. Both Joby and Archer are going to be participating in the eVTOL integration pilot program alongside U.S. Airlines. So, same thing. Excellent.
Joby did pull back a little bit here. Did not quite test that VWAP, but I'll tell you what, a test of that VWAP and a hold might set up for some higher here. I think we can be patient on this, though. I'm going to be anyway. There we go. Right back to the VWAP.
Tennis, he might be, but you know what? Nobody should listen to him because he's a scammer. He's a criminal and a scammer.
There you go. Tell us how you really feel.
I just did.
I know.
All right. What is AGAE doing? Still, okay, so this looks like it might go down.
That's AGAE, right?
Yeah.
That was one that we thought was curling earlier.
Yeah, it still looks like the MACD is rolling over here. Momentum's kind of shifting to the downside. Seems like this is going to roll over here pretty soon. We'll see how far down it goes. 160 is a support area. If we lose that, it's going to probably come down to 125.
Tesla seems to be stalling out there at 387. Now we'll see if it gears up for another move here, but 387 seems to be the intraday resistance here.
What can we expect with the 10 a.m. consumer sentiment and inflation expectations? I don't know what the expectations are.
I'll see if I can find that for you here real quick, 13, because I don't know what it is off the top of my head either. Let me see if I can pull it for you.
But what I think we can expect is that the market will react if it's too far away from expectations, whether it be to the above or beneath. Obviously, you're going to get different price action with either one. But let's just see where we're at, because you bring up a good point, and we have less than 40 seconds to take a look at it.
I think it's 58.
That's the expectation?
I think so, yeah. This is the Michigan Consumer Sentiment Preliminary. I believe is 58. Prior was 58.2. I'm not mistaken. Hopefully I'm reading the right line. We'll get it here in a second. We'll confirm that for you. Market did start to bounce now. So that initial pull, now we've gone higher.
Yeah, it's really just going to depend on the context. Jonathan Cooper, exactly. Microsoft, both laggers last month leading the Qs now. ISPC going for high. And there's Michigan Consumer Print. It's lower than the estimate. Let's see how the market takes that.
Actually, the initial reaction here is that it moved down. So here we go. Michigan Consumer Sentiment for September, 55.4 versus the 58.2 estimate. So I was off there a little bit. Michigan Consumer expectations for September, 51.8 versus the 54.9 estimate. So we are softer on both of those. Markets stopped going up, but hasn't pulled yet.
Yeah, that doesn't really look like it's going to do a whole lot.
Yeah, I
think
kind of feel the same thing.
The big news is probably just going to be next week when we get the FOMC rate decision.
Oh, by the way, Tuna, I'm sorry I took this off my screen, but you're absolutely right to bring this back up. ISPC testing 2 after it broke the 13 trend line that I dubbed earlier. It literally several 5-minute sessions, then bang, broke through it on expanding volume. Higher we go. Volume told the story once again.
You can break my trend lines, just don't break my heart.
You've got a pretty resilient heart there. I think
I know. I'm just talking. Okay. What looks good besides the one that you just mentioned? It looks like Ionic is getting some support from the 5285 area.
Ooh, VSTD, WIS. This is a good mention. Mama Bear. Everyone that's on VSTD, this actually does look like it's going to try and take this out, close up to the VWAP there, 252. If it does that, that's a decent setup. I don't know if it works, but this is a decent setup here.
Yeah, it's got this consolidation in the pre-market. It's got to chew through, but once we get up to 230, it looks like there's a lot less of it.
See if we get this here in VSTD. 213 is the snap there. Volume looking good. Smoke Tuna says that this still needs time. Okay, Tuna. So it looks like we pushed up to this resistance area. We were unable to really take it out yet. You're thinking it still needs some more time. We'll see if we curl back up and blow through that. Remember, we just looked, 13, we just looked at ISPC, and while that was a trend line, not a previous high, it banged against it a couple of times before eventually going. We'll see if that's what takes place here. 13.
There's like almost no volume in it right now, but ANEB is above its VWAP right now, and it just looks like it needs just that component of volume to take this thing higher. So maybe just keep an eye on it, but I don't know what the lack of attention is here. It looks like this is ready to go. Just missing volume. Ionic, here we go. Coming back up. Let's see if we can get that a 58 print. That'd be amazing. It'd be amazing. We just went right to that. HCWB, this might be turning around. It's in the process of trying to recapture the 200 EMA on the 5-minute. MACD is indicating that this is starting to swing in the other direction, but might need some more time for it's going to need some more time for confirmation. BBAI also trying to recover by getting above its VUF and 65 EMA. They're both right in the same area. Wow.
IONX, by the way, that's going to be one of your levered ETFs for Ionic, and that's ripping today. Up and take a look at that VSTD. Grats if you're in it. Here we go. 225 got VWAP at 252. Let's see if we get it.
Nice.
VSTD.
That was a great mention.
Sure was. You're getting me paid. I love it. Thank you, chat. Thank you, chat.
Day and night.
I think that was on purpose.
That one was on purpose. We loved it so much the last time. We did it on purpose that time.
AGAE loading zone. Is that where we are right now? Down at those pre-market lows, Tuna? This is the spot? I mean, to me, it looks like the MACD is about ready to say, hey, we're going to roll over and go lower. Let's see what happens here. 160 is the spot, huh?
I'm going to raise stops on this trade here on VSTD. Stop there at 219. Entry was 211. Just going to make sure that we have gains booked on this, although my hope here is that we go to VWAP.
DBAI still trying to get through that VWAP 65 EMA level.
All right, gains locked in there, VSTD. I'll keep it on deck. Marcus, thank you for mentioning Chewy. I actually wanted to have a larger discussion on this yesterday, but we got carried away. Chewy here. So you're buying the Chewy dip. What is the plan here, right? Are we basically trying to hold these lows, Marcus, this 34.5 lows? VSTD more here going to the VWAP?
I'll take my tortilla chips back if you're going to give me Chewy dip.
I see what you did there.
My ears hear things. Oh, hey, you know what? When you're somebody was mentioning UNH earlier, we're still on our way to filling this gap. Might run into a little bit of resistance around 368, but we're still filling this gap from May.
Yeah, VSTD was a great setup. That's it. I'm all out here now. Really good stuff on that. Mama Bear making me some money. Oh, you a drink, Mama Bear.
Smoke Tuna mentioning HUIZ is set up.
HUIZ.
UIZ.
Let me pull that up here. Marcus, really quickly, before I go away from Chewy here, are we thinking that this bottom here, this 34.5 holds for Chewy? Because possible gap fill above, I see a decent long trade here if this support holds. I know you said you were buying the dip here. Let me know what you think about a trade plan here in terms of stop and target price. Chewy, this was a really good mention.
I'm a little concerned about the chart for Chewy. We are approaching a death cross here. We have not had a crossing of the 50 and the 200-day SMAs since June of last year when we golden crossed. That led to this massive rally that we had. It took us all the way up to 48.75. I think this could go lower. If 34 doesn't hold, I think we're going lower. I think we're going to probably end up coming down. I really don't want to say where we could end up going, maybe $30, but I don't like the way this chart looks right now. Hopefully I'm wrong about that.
Well, that's exactly why I was asking for the different spots of the trade there, because we don't know what's going to happen, right? We want to have a plan just in case the chart does roll over into that. So 34 was the level. Did I get that right? 34, you said?
30.
30, okay.
30 even, yeah. That might be where we end up going down to. It's, I mean, if you look at a daily chart, you see how the 50s is pretty rapidly approaching the 200. We get across. I think that we're going to see some downside for a period of time. So just something to watch for. No position in Chile. Looks like BBAI is still grinding higher. We did recapture that 65 and EMA and VWAP, still trying to hold above it, running into some resistance from the pre-market supply.
Rigetti moving with Ionic.
ANEB is starting to move. So now from earlier, it didn't look like it was doing much of anything. It's above VWAP now, starting to get some movement. That was a really good mention. It just didn't look like it was 500-day support.
500-day moving average is, I believe, what he's talking about there at 33.29.
No, I have that down at 28.14.
ANEB, this was a really good mention through the VWAP there. Only 6 cents so far, but looking all right.
Yeah, it is. It's looking pretty good. I mean, this might be able to go back up to 280. FIGR flag forming here. This could run with the new highs as WebCoin. And Frank is asking what happened with Oracle.
Oracle, so we talked about that a little bit earlier. Barat, I think I missed this earlier. Got the right sound effect for I think the first time here today. Oracle, huge move higher here. This just looks like it's kind of pulling back here. This was a really good short out of the gate. When we take a look at the daily chart, it'll become more clear about what we're talking about. Here's the gap filled down. Now, Mark earlier told us that the candle we saw yesterday was extremely bearish. And today here, looks like we're actually getting some follow through here. I'd actually be looking for 260 as a possible spot here. I don't know if we get there, but I could see that happening.
Webcoin, I think I'd like to see FIGR come back down to 34 and get support there before we start blasting off. That would look like a more meaningful setup to me. It would kind of cool off the RSI, which right now on the 5-minute chart's at 85. I think I'd like to see this come back into 34 and get support and then rocket beyond 37. That's just my preference. Maybe it goes, maybe it doesn't, but I think that we need to come back into 34 first. Oh gosh, look at this. Ionic is about to make a new session high, new all-time high. If it goes to 58, I'm just going to be, I'll be happy for everybody that picked it up and trusted the trend line. All right. A lot of those names that we were looking at this morning, they're just kind of in recovery from the sell-off mode.
Oracle, go back 20 years. Ellison has overpromised in the past. FYI. Thank you, Jay. Oracle's not one of those stocks that I've ever really traded before. I mean, I've had it a couple of times, but not for any type of significance. That's actually helpful. Oracle, more lows here. Good Lord.
Yeah, my understanding is that backlog that they touted doesn't really kick in until 2027. But
Tesla, look at, oh my God, there's so many options being traded on Tesla. It's insane.
What do we think with Oracle back to 250?
Yeah, I think 260 was what I just said. Good morning, Nikolai and Christoph. Have a great weekend. I know you said goodbye. Take care of yourself. Thanks for all of your support. We appreciate you.
Take care. Why is Rigetti moving and QMM is quantum back? Well, I don't really think quantum ever really kind of left. It just cooled off.
Yeah, I agree with you, 13. And I was someone that, thought that this is still probably a ways away. And even so, I agree with you. It didn't go away. It cooled. And you're seeing a reheat of that. Look at Oracle, all red candles, all red volume candles. Whew.
And then with RGTI, I don't know if it's got different news. Don't see anything today, but it might just be moving in relation with Ionic. It's got a pretty interesting setup. It looks like this is going to end up going to 21, maybe 21 and a half. Wherever that high was from back in January, it looks like it's headed right back to it. Oh. Wow.
Yeah, and you guys are talking about IPOs here. I once again didn't cover that today. I take responsibility for that. Let me actually just break it down here for you real quick on what we got. You guys are talking about we got a lot of them. The BRCB, that's BlackRock Coffee Bar. Jay, you had mentioned earlier, this is like a competitor for bros. My question is, how's the coffee? And do they rely on like overly sugary drinks? Because that seems to be what was really hitting for bros with the younger generation. And I'm wondering then if there's any overlap or potential, competition, legit competition for bros. That's ticker BRCB, BlackRock Coffee Bar.
I'm going to create some future diabetics with the bros coffee. Why is the chart for BRCB not coming up? I can't pull this up. Tesla followers want Elon back as the top richest guy. Yeah, because I thought he was, or did the Oracle CEO just dethrone him?
Yeah, see, Perry saying all drinks are over sugared to fatten everyone. That's exactly why I'm just kind of wondering here, because I think that for the stock, if it's got sugar in it, it's gonna land. But I'm just wondering for myself there, just with some of that. Sugar's the new crack, says Cam. You're not the only person that thinks that. Oracle continuing to just spout red volume candles, red price candles, more lows. Bharat, how you doing, buddy? Oh man, Bharat, dude, just absolutely showing us how it's done.
Everything getting a pull here.
Yep, market pulling back here too. 657.5 on the SPY. NASDAQ pulling as well. That's leading the way down.
Your chart's still working?
Yes.
Okay. I don't see anything that's really looking too decent at the moment. Maybe BBAI is going to get some support from the 200 EMA, but I don't know. Maybe more of the beat up ones that are still trying to put in a bottom that we were looking at this morning. COCP kind of sideways, GCTK sideways. Same thing with HCW.
And VSTD, by the way, it never quite got to the VWAP and it's backed off a little bit, but it might not be done. Keep that on the back burner if you missed it earlier. No reason to rush into it now. Bharat here, who opened a short and told us about it here, is saying, I'm holding Oracle short until I see a big wick up. Appreciate that, Bharat. Definitely love the thought process that you're sharing here with the group. You earned that, man. Congrats.
Okay, well, they're having problems with the charts right now.
What's going on? Let me try changing it.
It's not loading. It's not loading. Probably trade view again.
Do you see, mine is though? Are you getting an error or is it just grayed out?
Well, I was getting the ghost.
You're getting the ghost. Oh, what ticker?
It was everything until just a second ago. Maybe it's fixed.
Okay, let me see if there was a report of that, because if not, I want to help. I want to help report that, and I'm not getting it here.
MUJD. I don't see that one, Andrew. MJUD doesn't bring anything up for me.
I think he means MJID, because that's 149 right here. I've got it on screen.
All right. So this just recaptured its 20-day SMA for the first time. Looks like there's going to be resistance at 170. 170 to 175 resistance.
Jay here, BRCB, no indication yet, but it's a JPM lead. They did a raise price from 16 to 18 to 20, so I expect it to do well. That's ticker BRCB, one of the IPOs from today. Thank you, Jay. Lion, have a great weekend.
Ticker line. So this is a Cayman Islands-based holding company conducting operations through its PRC subsidiary. So this is a China pump.
UNH continue to move up. 362 is your intraday high. Remember, that gap fills 377.
GSRT is a nuclear play. IPO document updated. IPO could come in the next 15 days. GSRT. And it's kind of been hanging out down near 10. Let's take a look here. So what are we thinking here? Thinking about it, this, do you think we're going to see 11 or 11 plus again? Or is this, they're going to announce the merger and this sells off? What do you think? All right. What?
I was just wondering how GCTK did. Man, that fell back to that $8 level, held that so far. We'll see if it recaptures any of those areas. AGAE is the other one I wanted to check real quick. Open Door down 5.
Uh-oh. You just lose Ryan? Sound like the wildlife out there was getting crazy. Looking around here, BBAI looks like that's trying to get some support around the 200 EMA on the 5-minute. AGAE, this is making its way back up towards its VWAP. Wild is going. Let's take a look at that. WLDS, wearable devices, is going. We are approaching the pre-market highs. And, oh, here I am. Let me see if I can share my screen with y'all. 1 second. Bear with me, folks. All right. WLDS. Let's look at that one. Okay, so here's what we're looking at. Looking for this to get taken out here. Just ran up to 11. Fantastic. Coming a little bit back. Looks like this trend line hit that, or this area that I had here is still in play. But if we can get through this 1166, 1170 area, could go higher. Do I have a handle? You're looking at it. This is the only place that I've really found. You can find me on Benzinga Pro's happy hour channel in the chat. I don't use X, unfortunately. It's a nuke play. So GSRT, thinking about saying it's a nuke play. So this sector is hot recently. This could go and formally generic IPO meeting following now says September without an actual day. All right, well, that gives us, 18 days? All right, let's see. What else do you want to look at here, folks? PLTR is cooking. Let's see what PLTR is looking like today. Oh, yeah, it is. So here we got this coming up to some of the pre-market consolidation supply areas from yesterday. So this section right here is going to be the next area that we got to see the buyers chew through here. Let me look and see what kind of level 2 data I'm getting on that. Man, this thing is just on a tear right now. Well done. So don't really see too many heavy sellers right now, but I would imagine as we approach this, the 167 area, they're going to start to emerge. Let's see if we see them now. Not really. This area right here, this is going to be the big area where we could see the rejection. So just keep that in mind as we approach the middle of this. SCYX preparing to take off. Oops, I want to do that. Let's look at that. SCYX. This has just been in an uptrend all month. What's the news today? Doesn't look like there is any. And PLTR is still going, chewing its way through that consolidation. So don't see the reason why this is going, but it's been moving. Let's look at the daily chart, see what this looks like. So this thing got absolutely hammered. Look at this recovery. So what are we thinking? This goes to the 500-day SMA. Starting to look like it's on track. Maybe it runs into some resistance right about here at 140. As you can see, that used to be a support area before we lost it. Now it's resistance. Big resistance from this attempt to recapture it there. Got rejected. This action down here, especially with the silver cross and a potential upcoming golden cross, that bodes really well for this. But look at the RSI. This is going to have to come back in here. So maybe once we get this this test here of the 140 area, maybe as high as the 500-day SMA, we're going to get a pretty big drop down here because this thing is very extended. We'll look at this with PLTR. Let's go back to that one because that just went up and pulled. Go back to the 5-minute chart here. Sorry if I'm missing anything you guys are saying. I'm just focused on this right now. So here we are coming right up to, let's see, 167.47. That was right about there. Still trying to chew its way through here. This is going to be tough for it, folks. But if we continue to get volume expansion, we'll make it our way through. 168 is the print we need to see to know that we're through it. AGAE is gearing up. I mean, we've been waiting for this to do something. Let's see if it's doing what we're looking for. You know, we've got this kind of a bull pennant formation happening here. Draw a little bit of a triangle, kind of like this. We're just kind of looking at for a breakout from that. So if we can get back over 2, that'll be a good sign. We'll look for a break over this trend line thereafter. Yeah, needs volume. Absolutely. Absolutely does. What else we should take a look at here, folks, while we wait for Ryan to get back? What have you been mentioning here? Adobe straddle seller's dream move was 28. Okay, no harm. Yeah, I know. We do have. It seems like we have at least one tech issue every week, so wouldn't be a show without that. All right, let me look back here. Joby couldn't hang, so lost altitude, you would say. Yep, certainly did. Now, let's not pay attention to these lagging moving averages. You can certainly use them for trading, but I just need to turn on my exponential one. So let's do that. There we go. All right. So if this comes down to here, the 1420 area, that's looking like where the next area of support is going to be if it doesn't happen about here where it's trying. So I think that's going to be your next area of support. Now, what's interesting about this is that we're getting a bit of a pattern forming here. If we do get support from this area and it does manage to go back up into the 14.5 area, I'd be a little bit careful because that's setting up a head and shoulders pattern. You don't want to see that. That's going to lead to downside. PLTR. Got to go back to that because that thing just snapped. Look at this. Here we go. Trying to make our way through this consolidation. Still looking for that 168 print. That was weird. It was like 168 was right about here a moment ago.
Sorry about that.
Hey, there he is.
Power flickered, knocked everything off, and I was waiting on the modem to reconnect here. Let me get set up, and I'll go ahead and reshare everything, 13. Appreciate you.
No problem. We were just looking at Palantir. This thing is on a tear right now. Went right up to some of the resistance we were looking at here from the pre-market yesterday. Looking for a 168 print to know that we're through the consolidation. And then we can have this conversation about getting through some of this in the 168 handle. RCAT, SERV, and Apple. We'll look at those too. I'm going to switch over to RCAT. Just take a look at that. All right. So look at this. Okay. So just like with Palantir, trying to make our way through some sideways consolidation in the pre-market. We are dealing with some of the after hours consolidation once we get up to, looks like the high 10 area, maybe about 1090. So if you hit 1090, we're going to have to be dealing with this. We get through 1120. Let me see how much more we can go from there. So 1120 is about there. It looks like we're going to have to look at this these days price action, get an idea of where some more levels are. But from here, it looks like 1150 would be the next one after 1120.
Okay. Good stuff.
Oh, cool. You're back. All right.
Yep, I should be back now. I should be back here. Tesla, it's like I never even left because Tesla's continuing to trade higher and the options are flowing here in Tesla. 391. This is dashing for 400. Forget 380. Apple also at the highs. That's a good mention there, Nikolai. Apple coming right back. Right. Actually, that got through that 233 spot that we had identified too.
All right. So WLDS, it's not showing as halted for me, but you guys might be right. It's looking like it is. This doesn't, my broker's just not saying it is, but it certainly looks like it's halted. Oh, wow. Okay. So Ionic, 56, not too far away. Not too far away at all. And LDI looks like that just got support from $4. This might be turning around here. LDI.
Here you go. Here is your LDI chart. Maybe it did hold 4 there.
And here we go with Joby. This is almost at that 65 EMA down at that pre-market support area of the 1420. And we just, I think we just kissed it a little bit. So a little quick makeout session with that 65 EMA. Let's see if we can get a turnaround here and print 1450 again. Zach, it looks like Wilds did halt. It looks like it has. It's just I'm not seeing it on my broker. I don't know if anybody else is having that same issue, but it looks like it's halted the downside.
I do have it reported here in signals as halted.
Okay.
970 to the downside, just like you said. Yes, it did.
And look at this pull with Palantir after reaching some of those pre-market levels from yesterday.
Got it.
Got a little bit of a rejection happening here after hitting 167.78. That 168 level we kept keeping an eye on. Seller's not ready to give that up yet, apparently. But at least we know that that's where they are, or from that 25-cent range around 168. Ionic 5607. That's great. Great call on Ionic, folks.
The whole quantum theme here, Rigetti was a pretty good move too. But but yeah, really good stuff there from the group. Again, nobody's surprised. Nobody surprised.
QBTS is up almost 8% today. I'm just trying to think of some of the other quantum names.
QUBT, QBTS, RGTI, IONQ, and I think there was another one in there.
They're all up today. They're all up. Like to see Elon dancing on the table somewhere. Yeah. And Micron has been continuing higher. Been a beast. Absolutely. What's that looking like today? All right. So we are almost at that high from June of last year. That is the all-time high. This looks like it's going to, one of two things is either going to happen, in my opinion, here with Micron. You're going to get to this all-time high here from June, and we're going to either blast through this thing and continue higher, probably up to 180, maybe more, or we're going to pull back, and we'll probably come back in. I want to say maybe down to 130, but I don't. Without doing some math, I wouldn't be able to give you a more accurate level. But I think that we could end up with a bit of a cup with handle if we get a rejection at that June 2024 high. And if that happens, then we'll just have to wait for that handle to form. A short handle would be nice. Long handle's okay too, but it's a little less bullish. But either way, this looks like there's going to be more upside in Micron's future. Ryan Summerall is saying that when quantum is up, small caps are next. Russell play incoming, and you got a catalyst coming next week. Daniel is mentioning QMMM. Got to make sure I mention all the M's.
That was weird. That power spike, like I'm like logged out of stuff here. Sorry, it's taking me so long.
A power spike?
Well, the whatever caused my power, it like flickered off, but it was enough to shut my modem off and my computer, and I had to reboot everything. Now I'm like logged out of everything. Rhett here taking Joby at 1420.
How do I read a 1 minute candle on Pure OK3 at 3 minutes ago? Well, I normally don't look at 1 minute candles, for trades. But let me look and see what if I can give you an answer for what you're asking here. So I'm looking at a 1 minute chart here. I mean, it looks like it's turning around and it wants to get back up to 3. I mean, that's just what the chart looks like to me. We got on a very small time frame. We have a silver cross happening. So if this can hold 282, possibly sees 3 again. But if it loses that level, then we're probably going to come down beneath 275. That's just the way I would look at it with the price action we're getting on this small time frame.
Smoke Tuna, no, this was my PC, and I'll fix this. I'll just get a universal power supply so this doesn't happen again.
I can make some recommendations because I've got a bunch of those.
Thankfully, my producer, Aaron Thomas, is an absolute G and will know what to order and just do it for me because he's that awesome.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah, did we get some more movement out of AGAE?
Let's take a look. I can bring that up here.
It looks like we're still hitting that VWAP.
Yeah, 196 is still your spot of interest there, AGAE. Alpha Golf, Alpha Echo.
Yeah, just a lot.
How can you trade without a UPS? Wow. Yeah, very carefully, Glenn. The other thing, I have my phone right next to me with my broker's app on it. And if there's ever an emergency, the first thing I do, right to the phone. But you're right. The universal power supply is way better. And we're going to solve that problem, it sounds like, next week.
Excellent.
That's like what we do. We solve problems around here, 13.
Looks like WLDS is open. Getting some resistance from VWAP right now. PLTR continuing to sell off. Ionic hasn't quite rolled over yet, but the MACD is indicating that it's pretty close to doing so. And HUIZ is making its way back up towards VWAP. We had one test of that earlier today. We got rejected. Here's number 2 coming. AGAE bull flag. Kind of more of a bull pennant, it looks like, but yeah, it does have a bullish looking setup. We just need to get it. We need to clear this VWAP. Yeah, this has been the big support and resistance level here with the stock this morning. You can see it when we opened, we moved above it. We were getting support from VWAP, then we lost it. Now it's been resistance. So if we can get through this thing again, we'll have a nice support level on our hands again. Looks like A and EB was that move over VWAP? Was that it for this one?
For AGAE?
No, ANEB.
Oh, sorry. I actually haven't pulled that one up since before my computer crashed. Let me do that now. Yeah, that just popped above the VWAP. Now it's actually giving it up.
Yeah.
Bharat here. What are our thoughts on Baba? Baba's had a huge run recently. I don't know if I buy the news about the new chip and all of that. And I got my own worries about China. I would say, though, for a trade, though, maybe a 140 pullback hold might be a decent entry there on Baba. What do you think, 13? I haven't asked you about Baba in a long time, I don't think.
Well, let me look at the chart.
Get to 13. I want whatever you were about to say there.
It looks like it's. You want to draw a trend line?
Yeah. I mean,
I'm sure if you look at the daily chart, you'll probably see where you need to draw it.
Starting in May 2024?
Yeah. Yeah. You see it. So maybe 185. Maybe 185. We're not too overbought yet. Still could go a little bit longer like this, but if this is going to go anywhere, and we've seen these things happen, it's probably going to go to this trend line. So I'd say 185. Now, once we hit that again, I don't know if we're going to continue to move up, but I think that's going to be the next resistance I'd be keeping an eye on. Yeah, that's the thing of Dara is I hope I'm saying your name correctly. There's been a whole push to make homegrown chips in China, so they're less reliant on NVIDIA. But my understanding is that the chips they're producing are not great. They run into a lot of problems, a lot of power issues, a lot of instability. They're also not able to produce high enough yields per silicon wafer. So this, their manufacturing capabilities and ability to outperform NVIDIA, I'm skeptical when I hear that. But the H20 is a pretty scaled down AI chip. So if it's beating the H20, then I'm just kind of like, well, congratulations, you managed to
you beat the junior varsity chip. You beat the JV chip.
You beat the GIMP chip. So congratulations on stepping over the lowest bar possible. That's the way I look at it. If they can, if there's actually proof and not just some firm in China saying that these chips are better, and there was actual benchmark tests done and evidence to support that claim that chips that they're being produced outperform NVIDIA's, let's say their Blackwells or even the GB100, 200 chips. That'll be something else, and I'll probably really hit NVIDIA stock. But until that happens, I don't think they can do it.
But Bharat, was that helpful? Yeah, he said thank you. Okay, sweet.
Any word on Rocket Lab? The only thing that I mean, there might be some more news coming with Rocket Lab, but the only thing that I think is I'm really focusing on when it comes to this company is their Neutron rocket. Once they are able to successfully demonstrate that with a test flight, that's going to really start to move Rocket Lab, I think, because for now they don't. The rockets they launch are for very small payloads, and this is going to significantly scale that up to the point where they're more in competition with SpaceX's Falcon 9 rockets. So that's the big thing I need to see come out of Rocket Lab, is that they have successfully launched and tested their Neutron rocket. Now, the chart does look interesting. It looks like we are going to have another date with 53.5. It certainly does look like that's going to happen. I don't know if there's news coming to support that, maybe the rate cuts will have an effect, as I anticipate they would. But I don't know what any recent news is for Rocket Lab that would really get this thing moving aside from that neutron test flight. So hopefully that answers your question. Any thoughts on AMD or NBIS? AMD is a long hold for me. Bought this when we, off the heels of that tariff scare that took us down to some multi-year lows in April. And I think this will eventually be a big competitor with NVIDIA in the AI space. It might not be apparent right now, but they are making headways, and I think they'll be a really good competitor. Same thing with Broadcom, except they're going to be more on the custom chip making side.
AMD more than a double from those April lows that you were just mentioning.
Oh yeah, same thing with Broadcom. I'm over 100% in that. Yeah,
Broadcom's insane.
Neutron test flight is in 2026. That's what we don't want to see. We don't want to see it pushed out to 2026. Unless I'm wrong, because I don't think I've seen any news to say that it's been pushed out further. They're still planning on doing it this year. So if we get news that they pushed that test flight out to 2026, I think the stock comes down. All right. So it looks like Ionic is going to start to roll over here. It's really looking like it's about to go down and test its VWAP. So that might be all she wrote for now on that one. Looks like we did get a little bit of a pullback from Palantir, but it's coming back. It says, no, I want that 168 print first. So let's see if we end up getting it. Yeah, if you think Lisa Su's doing a good job at AMD, smash the like. Give Jensen Huang's cousin a like.
AGAE will flush.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, so just be careful with that. It doesn't look good. Couldn't really get above the VWAP. I would agree with Tuna there.
Yeah, wouldn't be surprised if that happens. It's done that before. And ask, here I'm going to say it. Yeah, I already wrote to you in Slack who told us about this one. So ask him because I think it'll be funny, a funny conversation to have with him.
We'll do it on Monday.
All right,
we will do it on Monday.
VSTD. This got a little bit of a pop here. I think this is something you've folks been waiting for. Looks like it wants to test VWAP again. Not sure if we're going to get a move through. You can see some better volume.
Now, remember, the last time that we saw a pop on better volume, we still didn't get back to VWAP there. So I wouldn't necessarily chase the pop here. Otherwise, you might just be getting the pullback right away.
And it is past that 10:30 time where volume does leave the market. So we're probably not going to get a lot of follow through on these names. So if you have a specific target in mind where you think some of these movers will go, as soon as you start to get going here, may not get a complete follow through. Now, what's interesting about ANEB is that this has a bit of a trend line here that it looks like it wants to take out, but there's just no volume in this thing right now. ASST, that's continuing lower. SIDU, that looks like it's trying to get some footing, but I think that still looks like it's going lower. We'll see if Ionic's going to end up rolling over here. It's at a support level, so if that breaks, probably going to come down to the VWAP.
IONX is the levered ETF, by the way.
Yes, I did take a look at VERI, and that's one that I may have mentioned like a while back earlier this year about an interesting name for some of the identity verification plays. This one just recently had a golden cross. I think what I liked about this one is that this is in a nice uptrend. It looks like. Overall, it's still in a longer term downtrend, but this is looking like it's starting to recover. The next big area of resistance, I think I mentioned earlier, was like 450, 455. So that's where I would keep an eye on for a price rejection. But eventually, I do think it's going to take that out. We just need to see if it can even get there first. So 455. Next level I'd be keeping an eye on for VERI.
Okay. This is actually a nice little back test here, VERI.
Yep.
Tesla calls still printing. Actually, it's a mixture. Frankly, it's both calls and puts here. Tesla did come off the 394 spot. See if that holds 380.
So let's see what SPY is doing today. Because I'm kind of wondering, are we just seeing like a lot of the junk names get left in the dust and everybody's just kind of rotating back into the big safe names for the weekend? Kind of feels that way. So we sold off after hitting that all-time high of 658.33, and we're trying to get back up to that and print it again. We are running into some resistance at 658 even.
Glucotrack GCTK may be curling. Watch if that can get through that 65 EMA. Oops, at 954.
That's right, Smoke Tuna. These also do have the tendency to come back later on in the day, in the afternoon, and trade better. We have seen that time and time again, where some of these will get really smashed going into the lunch hour,
Yeah.
and then they just kind of base in the afternoon, and then out of nowhere they start turning back up. So if you're looking for something to trade later on in the day, keep an eye on some of these movers we've been looking at this morning.
Mystic OPI, here's a penny stock, which we don't normally take a look at here, but this is moving on volume here above the after hour high from yesterday. I'll pass on this, but this one going. This is your 100% runner here.
What's going on with PBM here, Smoke Tuna? Keep an eye on it because of the short interest. It looks like they also had news about a investment. But that's like this is from last week. What are we looking at here with this one? You know, Rocket Lab going to 51. Oh yeah, we're still rocketing higher.
Yeah, we are
Coming up to some of these highs from earlier this month, September 3rd and August 26th.
HUIZ, whoever that was. Let me grab that here. Brad, HUIZ. Looks like that was help there from Tuna on that. See if we can get through the VWAP here next. You must have been right off the bottom there on that.
You know, ET3. I was looking at IBM not too long ago because I think this is one of the best companies out there that doesn't get enough attention. They've got they've got their hands in a lot of different things. You know, they've had AI, artificial intelligence, probably longer than most of these big companies. They're involved in the quantum computing space. They're involved in silicon photonics, which is going to be something I think we're going to be hearing a lot about coming soon. So I do like IBM. Even if you're looking to just buy this on weakness and hold in the long term, I don't think that would be a bad idea. It does look like this is starting to weaken, though, after the big run it's had since 2023. We are getting pretty close to a death cross happening here with this.
If we get that death cross 13, I'd like 200 on IBM.
I think that seems like about the right spot. Maybe it's just slightly higher than 200, but it looks to me like, about somewhere around 205 looks to be like the big support area. Now, the thing about the price action we've been getting recently is that we've been trying to get above the 50-day SMA and we've been rejected. This is the fourth day we've been rejected at the 50-day SMA. So if this continues to come back in, we're going to want to see the 200 provide support down around 250. It does look like this could be trying to turn around, but if we cannot get above that 50-day SMA, and we start to lose the 200, I think we're going to get that bearish move down to the $200 amount, or towards the $200 amount. There is a gap fill above 266. So if we recapture the 50-day SMA, that's the next thing to watch for. Raj, I'm referring to IBM.
Yep.
And there may be some government money that they're losing. I know that we had a lot of cost-cutting measures done. I think maybe IBM could have been a little bit affected by that, but not as much as some of these other companies like, what is that one? BAH?
Oh, Booz Allen Hamilton?
Yeah. Not like that one. But this does get some government funding. So don't know if any of that dried up as a result of the cost-cutting measures. But
Yeah.
Probably less likely than some of those other organizations. Thanks, Rocket Lab. Hey, no problem. Was it still taking off here? Still going up?
Just a really good move there.
Oh yeah. I mean, it still looks like we're gonna make this the scallop happen here. We've got to get through the 53.44 high, but it certainly looks like it wants to get up there. And it's not on the neutron rocket news, but if that's successful, this could probably go really high. All right. Well, what are we looking at here for some?
I was thinking that myself. Where are we in terms of setups? I don't really have anything at the moment.
Seems like XIII is trying to make something happen here. It did recapture its VWAP, trying to get through some of this pre-market consolidation. So we'll see if it can do that. Resistance is going to be up at about 485 if it can get above 450. Looks like WLDS might try another attempt at going up to the pre-market high of 1165. Remember, the volume has pretty much left the market for the time being, so we're probably not going to get a follow through on a lot of these things we're looking at here. Just keep that in mind. LDI certainly does look like it's trying to put in a base here. I'd like to see this turn around. Same thing with Joby. Joby does look like it's trying to turn around as well, but absent volume, these things aren't going to get the moves we're anticipating here.
Do-it-yourself guy. I've got a Warner Brothers Discovery call up 600%. Should I exit? We cannot advise you what to do. We cannot tell you what to do with your positions, neither on the entry nor the exit. That would be up to you. My question, given the information that you've given me, is why haven't you sold some of that? 600%. Why not?
We tend to encourage people to take their gains as a stock gets stronger. So selling into strength. We can't tell you where and when to do that, but this is on news of a takeover. So I don't even know if this thing's done going up. I mean, isn't that the news that this company is looking to get picked up by Paramount, right?
Yeah.
So I don't even think that we have an idea of a bid. So I guess there's two ways to look at it. You can look at some technical levels and think, okay, well, maybe I'll start taking some profit here,
or just partial,
or just some profit, just partial here. And if this offer to take over the company is like, let's say $30 a share, where then there's some more upside ahead, and I don't want to miss out on that. But you just kind of have to manage this on your own and figure out where the best places to take profit are. But I would want to know more about this acquisition too.
I would say this: you're up 600%. That's a win. Start looking for the other one. Take that information as you will.
Yeah. Looks like ASST is getting a little bit of a lift after kind of putting in a base down at 892. See if this continues. Remember, volume's not around, so it might not. LDI looks like this is on a pretty decent recovery. We'll see if it can get above the 415 area where you have the 200 EMA and the VWAP. Well, look at that. Look at that. Palantir just knocked on the door of that 168 level. 3 cents shy. 167.97 is the session high. This thing probably will, come back in a little bit, but that's kind of what we were looking for, was that 168. We'll see if this can go higher. 169 looks like the next resistance level on the daily chart. That'd be great if it got there, but I don't know if it will right now.
ATOS, God, that is a blast from the past ticker. I've traded this a number of times in the past. It's a penny stock now. Good times.
Any big plans this weekend? How about you, Ryan? I don't know.
No, I don't have many plans. I want to decompress. This was a extremely stressful and emotional week for me, and I would be fine just playing some golf, maybe enjoying the sunshine, and not doing a whole lot of anything.
I'm just looking forward to Sunday. Sunday is my fun day. Have a good time. Huge resistance at Rocket Lab at 52. Yeah, there likely is. Let me see here if I can see what you're seeing here. Maybe it's on level 2 data. Okay, so I see what you're talking about. There are some sellers at like 5180 and 5190, but there's a good concentration of sellers at 52. I see what you're talking about.
BKSY, this is a great mention thinking about it. This is snapping the recent resistance area. And this also probably confirms this bottom as well.
Another one of the space plays. You'll love to see it.
Yep.
And that other space play, it's EchoStar, right? The one that had the bandwidth deal with AT&T and SpaceX. That might not be done.
Archery season, huh, Shady? I would really like to get into archery at some point when I've got some.
It's fun.
I bet it is. I hear Joe Rogan talking about it all the time. I wouldn't do the hunting angle that he does, but man, oh man, practicing firing a bow and arrow would be great. I
got to show you the video of this dude that just is insane at shooting. It's kind of inspiring, but I'll send you a video later.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure I can add that to my extremely busy weekend plans that I have.
Yeah.
I could easily watch that.
I'm gonna fill it up with shit, dude.
It's a great sport, if nothing else.
Yep.
CNET did pop. That's a good mention here, Tuna.
It's something that's definitely more fun to do than watch.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Big pull in Palantir here after hitting 168.16. So there it is, folks. We might this might take us down to somewhere in the 166 area. Looks like SIDU is trying to get support from the 65 EMA. I don't know what's going to turn around right now. Lots of stuff is just either trying to find some footing or selling. LDI really turning around, contrary to what I just said. So that's good to see.
Steve, you're most welcome. Thank you for taking time out of your day and supporting us. We appreciate it. Kevin, have a great weekend. Really appreciate you as well. Take care. Market
Kevin,
Sniper, I'm sorry for your loss.
Kevin, Steve, great to have you with us. And keep an eye on VSTD. This is coming up to its VWAP. I'm not guaranteeing that there's going to be any volume expansion because we know what time it is. But if there is, look for a move through that VWAP.
VSTD, you know what? I took this off my trading platform here, and I've already had some success with it today. So we'll see if we get that.
All right. So is AGAE doing a head and shoulders? Or I'm misunderstanding that saying. So head and shoulders is it's a pattern formation. This is not one of them. It kind of has some similarities, but that left shoulder going up to 285. That's not the kind of thing you see with a head and shoulders pattern. Typically, the head is the highest point in that pattern, and this one makes the shoulder the highest. So this would look more like a bull flag that is not getting a bullish breakout because we don't have volume. And it looks like this is going to be going lower as we approach the 160 level. So this not a head and shoulders pattern, but this does not look great. It needs to hold 160 and turn around and get back above VWAP. Otherwise, we are going to go lower.
Okay, real quick here. Ryan, I don't live far from Bethpage Black. Can anyone watch the Ryder Cup? Yeah, I think you just have to buy tickets for it. They might be sold out, but I don't know. Pretty awesome. Enjoy that. And 13, we are pretty much out of time here. Any closing words for the group finishing off this week?
Oh, folks, it's been a wonderful week trading here with you, and I had a great time. Lots of great movers. Looking forward to doing the same thing again. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy football. I am so happy to be here with you every day and having a great time. I look forward to doing it again next week. I'll see you then. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.
All right, 13, and we appreciate you. Take care. Have a great one, and we'll catch up with you next week. Now, 13's departure leaves room for Sandra. Let's say good morning and hello to her. Sandra, hello. How are you? I feel like I haven't seen you in a while.
Ryan. Good morning, Ryan. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Not too bad.
What do you got coming up for us?
So today we're going to talk about a couple simple strategies, the orb as well as the pre-market open. Take a look at that, and then take a look at what stocks are moving today, and take a look at the flow and see if we can put in a trade with automation today.
Okay, that sounds awesome. Education and trading. Trading Made Simple with Sandy starts right now.
Welcome back, traders. This is Sandra with Trading Made Simple. I'm here to show you short-term proven strategies. People think trading is a one-size-fit-all market. It's not. We live trade and train daily. Let's talk trading.
Benzinga, I hope you guys are having a great, I should say it's almost brunch time here, right? 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So looking at the cues right now and, looking like maybe this is actually has more relative strength than SPY, right? So SPY's looking like it's just maybe consolidating after a big move from yesterday. And looking at the markets today, I'm wanting to take a look at the option flow to see kind of what the institutions right now are doing. Are they moving into SPY or are they moving out of SPY? What are the three main stocks that look really good right now? So as I take a look here, I'm going to go right over here. Hopefully you guys can see this okay. Taking a look at the top bullish and bearish flow today. So right now, all eyes are on Tesla. So Tesla, real popular this morning, but also real popular with institutional flow, right? So we have Tesla, we have IONQ, as well as MSTR. And so these are the three top bullish flows going into these stocks today. And then look what the stocks actually, the institutions, look at the stocks that they're actually kind of getting out of. And that's SPX, EWZ, and SPY. And so I think for a Friday, this might give us just a little bit of forecasting to see what's on the horizon for next week. So right now we're in a little bit of consolidation, and that may be because people are taking profits. In fact, September is huge for institutional money moving actually from sector to sector. So this is when they do their rebalancing, right? And so there's typically a lot of volatility in September. And so we're going to see that continue. As we take a look again at the charts, we could see that SPY really not doing anything compared to the QQQs, right? And Tesla, right, being a main catalyst for the Qs. So let's take a look at Tesla. Wow, what a great day Tesla is having, up $20. And then I wanted to kind of show you a couple of real simple strategies that people often talk about. In fact, I got a lot of questions in regards to these two strategies this week. So I kind of wanted to go over this. Hopefully this will help you kind of analyze the charts better. And so people often talk about an opening range breakout, and for short, they call it an orb. What is an opening range breakout, and how do you use it as a trading strategy? So let's get into that. So the first thing I want to show you is on a smaller time frame, and typically the opening range breakout is typically used on a 15-minute chart. So on a 15-minute chart, as soon as the market opens, you're looking at this first candle. And on this first candle, you can see that this is our first 15-minute candle. So we have the 15-minute high and we have the 15-minute low. And what this represents is an easy trading strategy, especially if you're a detail-oriented person that gets lost kind of in the analysis sometimes, or you might be new and this is just a little too nerve-wracking for you. This is a real simple way that you can keep your mind focused and identify what's happening on the chart. So let's take Tesla as an example. If we look at the Tesla high and the Tesla low, you could either make a drawing here and just put that on here as an example, and then you're going to do this for the low. And basically what you're saying is, look, when price breaks above that high of the first 15-minute candle, we're going long. That's as simple as it can be. And if we break below that first 15-minute candle, then we're going short. And as you can see, the first 15-minute candle breaks and we end up going higher. And that's how simple this strategy is. That's a very popular tradable strategy. Some people like to do this. Some traders like to do this on a 5-minute. So as an example, let's take off this drawing here. And so as we take a look at the first 5-minute candle of Tesla, excuse me, and we make that drawing, if I can make that straight, somewhere around there, you could see that as soon as on a 5-minute candle, we break above that opening range, which is this 5-minute candle, we go higher. And that's really a simple strategy that you could utilize if you're looking for either a breakdown or a breakout, right? Is just to use that 15-minute candle or the 5-minute candle. Now, some people will look at that 1-hour chart because the 1-hour chart is really valuable for experienced traders. And they tend to look at that 1-hour chart and identify that opening range breakout in a 1 hour and think, are we going higher than that 1 hour time frame on the chart? And if the answer is yes, then we could see more movement in the next day or two. And so that's where we are today, even on a 1 hour for Tesla. And I will tell you, Tesla has a lot of high conviction trades coming in, big whale trades coming in from institutions. I've been seeing the orders and orders constantly coming in for Tesla. So we'll have to see if Tesla ends up either consolidating or starts to accumulate next week as we see all these orders come in. So this is basically the opening range breakout in a very simple way to understand it. And you can start utilizing this, that strategy on any ticker, right? I mean, it's that simple. On any ticker, you could utilize it for. The other one that I wanted to talk about, and that's why I have my after hours on, is let's go over to SPY as an example. Let's talk about the pre-market levels. Why are the pre-market levels important to traders? Well, let me just tell you that every day, right, we're either going to range trade or we're going to have a breakout or breakdown trade, right? Those are the three options that we're going to have. But how do you measure that? And so when we talk about measuring a move, we need to talk about what's happening overnight. Because overnight you have other markets, the Europe, London, those markets are already in session. Asia market, they're already in session. And so as things are developing in other markets, that affects our stock market here. And so we use those overnight levels to help us identify a range. So let's take a look at that. So as you can see, I do have an indicator, by the way. If you're interested in this pre-market low, pre-market mid, and pre-market high indicator, just shoot me an email, Sandra@tradingmadesimple.org, and I'll get you that indicator. But what this shows you basically is what was happening during the pre-market session of the morning. And what it does is you have to have your pre-market levels on, right? On your charting settings, you have to have that on. But once you do, what this will do is basically identify during the trading day what your high, mid, and low is. So technically speaking, if we were to look at this, is we would see that mid basically equals point of control, right? It's the point of control between the lower end and the higher end of where price traveled pre-market. And what this serves is that when we open, unless we break out of the pre-market high or unless we break out below the pre-market low, we're in a range. Could that help you as a trader identify maybe the type of trade that you want to take or the type of strategy, type of trade vehicle that you want to take? So this really then shows us, right, for today, what is the range? And then are we breaking out or are we breaking down? And then, of course, that analysis helps you to identify a trade vehicle. So on SPY, you could see that we broke above the pre-market high. We're now coming down to test it on a 1 hour. If we look at this on a smaller time frame, like a 15-minute, you could see that we broke above it. And again, we're still here retesting it. Now, what I like to do to eliminate fake outs is to have one candle on the time frame that you're looking at be actually away from that level. So if the pre-market high level is right here at 658.13, I want a candle to be away from it, not laying on top of it for that time period. Let's take a look at a 5-minute and see if we can see something a little bit better. So on a 5-minute, you could see our pre-market high right here. And you can actually see on the 5-minute a break below it, right? It's a break below that level and it's clean. It's not touching it. That to me is an identifier as well as momentum, right? Be careful of momentum, guys. You can see that on a 5-minute momentum is positive and it's curving up. But if you were just taking the fake out alone, just take a look at the candle and think, for that time period that I'm trading, do I have a confirmation candle that is below that level or above that level? And then that will give you more confluence to make your decision. And I would just add, of course, momentum, because momentum drives the price. So if you were just focused on the top part of the chart and not really focused on the bottom part of the chart, then you're not seeing that momentum is above zero. And right now it's toying with that zero line. Now, like a wave of energy or in the ocean, when the wave goes down, right? If it starts to come back up, where's it going? It's coming back up to make another wave. And that's how I really look at this indicator. This indicator is an indicator on Thinkorswim called the CCI. It's an old school indicator for momentum, but I love it. It's so easy to read. And so as momentum then is staying right here, you're kind of on the fence as well as, hey, is this going to break below that zero CCI? And if it breaks below zero and you have a confirmation candle underneath, you could see that this one touched it again, didn't it? Still toying with the pre-market high on SPY on a 5-minute. So what we're looking for is either this is going to be curving up or it's going to break that threshold at that zero line, which I have it colored as gold here on my chart. And then what you'll be able to see is a confirmation candle below that, and then we're back into a range. Because if that's the range and we just kind of peekabooed above that pre-market high, right? And you went long right at that candle, then what happens? Well, the next candle, you're coming back, down again. And so really what you're trying to do is develop a strategy for yourself so that you don't enter these trades during this time period. You want a confirmation level that'll get you into the trade with confidence that, hey, I have all these pieces of evidence that lead me to believe that this is going to go higher. And one of those is this little fake out. I don't want to be faked out into this trade if it's going to constantly just be going sideways. I really need the break above this pre-market high with No candle laying on top of it. I need a fresh candle that's above it. Momentum is high on a 15. I have price that already broke through it, but it keeps coming back to retest it. I really need a candle that's away from it. And as soon as it is away from it, you'll have more conviction with your trade thesis to go long. So those are the two strategies that I wanted to talk to you about. Very simple strategies that you could start playing with. Of course, simulate before you go live always is helpful. Now let's go ahead and talk about those three stocks that were looking good. We already took a look at Tesla. And Tesla right now coming up into some 15-minute resistance. Let's take a look at a day chart, see what we're doing here. It looks like I was already looking at that clearly on a different time level. So as you can see, we have a Darvas consolidation band. This is where Tesla was just really in a range for quite a while. We could see that today on the 11th, actually, we actually broke out of that. And then from the breakout, got a nice daily candle away from that consolidation resistance, right? Giving you what? Confirmation. Because it doesn't matter if it's on the pre-market high or straight support or resistance level, guys. If you're looking at a specific level that's important to you, you're really just looking for a confirmation candle to break out of that. As you can see, we are broken out of that, and it's looking really good. We saw some institutional flow into Tesla, and this looks really nice, actually. And so you could see a nice breakout candle here. We are entering some resistance, but let's take a look at the weekly now and so see what we got going. We had a previous high here, as you can see, back in December. And we've been kind of making our way over there. So as we break above that consolidation band, we're hitting a little bit of resistance level right here. But if we can break above that, you can see us go all the way to what? 488.54. That was our last pivot high before we broke down. So is that a level that not only institutions, but everyday retail traders, isn't that a level that they'll be looking at? Absolutely, right? So this is something to take in consideration, that we got Tesla's on a breakout right now, and it could go into a continuation. Now, what typically happens when we have a huge breakout day? We typically have a lot of consolidation. And so I want to make you aware of that, because a lot of people will miss the breakout. They missed that breakout, and then they just dive in with a full position, thinking that it's going to have a continuation immediately right after. And I think what a better strategy could be is building a position if you miss the initial breakout. So if you miss the initial breakout, you weren't looking at this before, you weren't looking at institutional flow to see that money was constantly going in this week for Tesla, then what you could do is say, Tesla just got a breakout from a very important zone. I think I'm going to start a position here. You could do one of two things. You could wait until it comes down and retests, right? Because that's always the stronger. That's always the stronger. Let's look at that on a day. So you could say, okay, here was the last pivot high at 367.39. Could I wait for Tesla to come revisit that level and then do a long? It's a really strong position when you do it that way. Because more often than not, price will come back and retest that resistance level that they just broke through. So instead of you thinking or maybe pushing or being too quick to get into now a position that's already been on the breakout level, you might want to think, which is a smarter way of thinking, hey, look, can I get back into this? I missed this stock, but I want to get back into it. What would be the best strategy for me to get back into this? And it would be the retest of resistance. So because you can actually see the level, you can actually create a trade that says, I want my platform to automate this trade. When price gets to 367, let's just say 50, we're at 39, 367.50, and then I want to go into a long call. How would you do that? So let's go ahead and practice that right now, guys. if we go over to the Tesla, let me just write that down. So you could see that our levels at 367.71. I'm going to make it 368. And the reason is because oftentimes price will just get so close to it and it kind of like satisfies that urge to come and test that resistance, especially if there's a lot of strong momentum. And so because of that, I typically pad my automations. So here I'm going to say just a little bit above it at 368. You could see that green flag right here, guys. 367.71 is the level. And I'm just padding it by 30 cents and just saying, hey, look, if price comes down at 368, I want to get into a long call. And then that will mean that I don't have to keep checking my charts, right? The automation is going to do it for me. I have this strategy in mind because I already talked about it, right? And I'm already like examining the chart work. What often ends up happening to a lot of traders is they'll do all this work on charts and they'll put a whole bunch of alerts in or write down a lot of notes. And then when the event actually happens, there's so many alerts that are going off that you get desensitized as a trader. And so that's why when you look at a chart and you create a strategy, it's better just to go ahead and automate that strategy. You can always change your mind later. If there's a news event or whatever, you can cancel the trade. But here, clearly, I'm saying, hey, look, if price comes down to 368, I want in. And what happens if it breaks below, as an example, a certain level? You could just say, hey, look, if it breaks below, if the entry is 367.71 and I'm entering it at 368, I could give this like 25 cents, 30 cents, right? If I really wanted to be narrow with my stop loss and say, as soon as that gets in, if this goes down 25, 30 cents lower, then we're back into this consolidation range and I don't want to be in this trade. And so you could actually do that too. So let me write that down as well so that I can just easily do it. So I'm going to say 367. So we're going to get into it at 368, but if it goes down to 367, I'm out of this trade. So let's go ahead and automate, guys. So because I don't know what next week brings, I'm going to give myself a little bit of time. So instead of just a weekly, I'm going to give myself 2 weeks because we could have an entire consolidation week next week. So as I come over here, I can either pick one of two strikes. I can either pick the entry strike, which would be 368, because at the time that it happens, it will be an at the money strike. Or if I look into the future, I can pick that as a strike as well to see where my target is. So right now, I think I'm just going to go up $1, down $1, just to make this simple. So I'm going to get into it at 367 is going to be 368 is our entry trigger. Looks like we have a 367.5. So I'm going to go over to the call and I'm going to right click it and say buy custom. And when I say buy custom, I'm going to do an OCO, which gives me a buy order and 2 sell orders. One of the sales is for your profit. One of the sales is for your stop loss. So from here, I'm just going to go over to this gear icon. And when I take a look at the order rules, this whole order rules section is really based on the bottom portion of this, because all of this you can do from the front side of the platform. So it's really this that's really important. So here, if I just click under the bar, you can see that it fills it out by default already. So it's defaulting to Tesla. It's defaulting to Mark. Now these triggers is above or equal to or below or equal to. And I'm looking for the below or equal to, which is the first one. And if you're not good with those triggers, you could just go down here and you can read it. And you'll see that if I say above, it'll say greater or equal. If I hit below, it says less than or equal. And then I'm going to come over here and then put in that price for Tesla. And that was 368. And you need the tab out of this box so you can actually see the programming on your screen. If you don't, it won't go in properly, just letting you know. So we have Tesla at or below 368 to get me into what? A long call of 367.50. So now, because we're using the stock price to enter this trade, I don't want to use an option price. So here we come up and we just say, hey, look, I'm going to be an aggressive buyer of this option. and I'm going to pay the ask. Typically speaking, Tesla has very narrow bid and asks, especially at the money. So because of that, I'm just going to say, hey, look, I'll give you the ask and that'll be it. And that's why this is a 0-0. It's just telling the computer, hey, look, when this gets to 368, get me into a long call and I'm willing to buy the ask. And then you save it. And that's all you have to do for that order, to be just kind of waiting in the wings for that to happen. So if we get a gap down low, who knows what the news will bring this weekend, we might get an entry in there. And then here, we're just going to say, hey, look, and we're going to do the same thing for the take profit. We said $1. I think I might go a couple dollars. We didn't take a look at the chart. Well, we have a little bit of time. Let me go over here, take a look at the chart. Let me, typically speaking, if we're here, we already came up to, this is a resistance level 382. 94, I'll make it 382. That'll give us some nice profit. All right, getting back to the trade here. So now we're going to go over to the take profit. And how do I know that's a take profit order, by the way, guys? Because right here, you can create these any way you want. You could do them opposite if you wanted to. That makes no difference. But the first one that they give you says a limit. And that limit is basically your take profit order. And you see how the second one is a stop, and that's your stop loss order. So you could just use them in that same rotation, or if you wanted to change it up, you could, but just letting you know what they give you. So now here we're going to go Tesla. We're going to say greater or equal to, and you'll see it says it right down here. And this is our take profit. So we're using the 382 level for Tesla. We've already been here before. We could easily go back to it. And now we're going to sell the bid. We don't know what the option price is going to be, but we're going to sell the bid, which means that you're just being an aggressive seller. And you see how the platform already adds like $1. You don't want to sell the bid plus give them an additional $1. So what we're going to do here again is just put 0-0. And now, make sure I got a good till cancel. I'll have to do that on the other one as well. But here now you have, let's see, let's make sure that the price is greater or equal to 382. And that's getting out with our profit. Sell the bid, 0-0. We're on our way to this order almost being completed. So now that we have that, and remember, I forgot to do good till cancel because, you know, on a day, if you leave it on a day, then it will just evaporate at the end of the day today. And so you'll want to make sure you put good till cancel because this is an automated order. You don't know when it's going to trigger. Now, for the stop loss here, we're just going to say, hey, look, when Tesla gets below, and that's the top part, we entered at 367. If it goes down to 366, tab out, make sure less than equal to. We're going to, this one is a stop. So anytime you have a stop, this is actually it's a market order is what we call that. So we're going to put this on mark. We're going to make sure this says 0-0 because this is going to be a market stop order when it goes down to the 366 level. So now I'm going to save it. And basically what we're doing on Tesla is we're saying, hey, if Tesla does basically a retest of the resistance level it just broke through today, I want to go back in because I believe that Tesla has more room to run. And it really is just retesting, which 80% of stocks do this all the time, guys. If you're looking at probabilities, if stocks come down to retest the last resistance level they just broke, this is really your best entry. So with that in mind, we're saying let's get in. And then if it drops below just $1 on Tesla, we're out. I'm saying I want to keep my risk low. If it goes below 366, I have a stop loss. If I get into this, when it comes to retest it, I'm going to the 388 level, which we've already tested before, which is considered resistance. So now, hopefully that is nice and clear, making it simple to automate a trade on Tesla, especially when you're looking for a reversal. There's a lot of traders out there that really like the reversal trades because they recognize that this is the better and stronger trade to make when it comes down to retest it. So on breakout days, you could go through this, pick 3 to 5 of your favorite stocks, look for the reversal, look for the resistance level that it broke or the support level that it broke, and then automate a trade just like this. I hope that helps you guys. When we do this, you'll see that my programming didn't let me push the button. You can see that it's grayed out. You got to make sure that your good to cancels all line up. Okay. And you got to make sure that depending on how many contracts you have, all line up. And then now we do this, we just take a look and read our programming, is what we're doing, right? We're saying, hey, look, buy Tesla, this long call at 367.50, which will be an at the money at the time Tesla goes down to retest resistance. When Tesla gets at or below 368. Now, when Tesla goes above 382, get me out with profit. And my stop is set below 366. So now, did I want my stop at 366? Yes. Okay. So that's actually $2. Could you make this 367? Absolutely. You could, to narrow your risk amount. Always have to be cognizant of your risk amount, because really as a trader, that's the most important thing. You want to limit your risk by looking at a potential gain. Guys, I'm out of time. I hope you have a great weekend and we'll see you next week. TradingMadeSimple.org.